JD Vance. Who knows? Hey. Hey, y'all. If you're in the chat, say hi. How's your night going? How's your Monday night going? Hey, how's it going, guys? How long have I been targeted? For about 19 years. Just about. How long have you been targeted? If you have been. If you're a target. Hey, AI got rhythm or I'll get rhythm. Hope you're having a great night. Steve, I'm glad you're doing good. Since birth. Oof. I hear that a lot, you know. What do you think? Do you think that someone in your family was targeted, like a parent of yours was targeted, and you kind of inherited that stuff, or is it something that happened to you for some other reason? I know, or do you think your family are the ones doing it? I know for a lot of people, they have an inheritance waiting for them, and their families are the ones targeting them because they don't want a child, their brother's child or their sister's child, or you know some heir to inherit money. Oh, you don't know. Okay. Well, something that's worth investigating, eh? I guess you've probably given it a thought before. Since 1995, right after the 94 NWO from Denver Airport. 94 NWO. 94 New World Order? I'm not familiar with that. What is? I heard something about the airport in Denver being linked with the Illuminati, but I'm sorry, I don't know. I don't know what you possibly could be talking about. I'm not educated on the subject. It's hard to really know the truth without speculating, as a lot of the answers are hidden. Yeah, you ain't never lied. That's true. Stuff. 7 years later was 9/11. That's the list we're on. Whoa. Well, yeah. I mean, this whole born into narc family, then it's probably your family. To be honest, I mean, if it was from birth, it's what I mean. It's either you inherited something that your parents had, or you know, it's your family doing it. Um, yeah, the whole 9/11 thing, as soon as they signed the Patriot Act after 9/11, that's when we lost all of our, rights. They put you on a list, on a terrorist watch list, a counter-terrorism list, which basically means that they treat you as a terrorist. And if you're not a terrorist, counterterrorism is just basically terrorism. And you can tell because we are all being terrorized, right? So, you know, you lose your rights when you're on that list. Freemano Takpon Moy. Are you Haitian? That's a Haitian word. She said he or she says, "Damn, this man fine AF." Thank you. I'm married though, so be careful. Seven Mason G letter. Huh? Seven equals Mason equal G letter. I don't know what that means. I'm sorry. I submitted, submitted to. Oh, submitted or did you subscribe? I'm not sure what you mean. Tao. Sorry, thong tao or tong tao. Hey, blessed man and blessed people. Hey, beyond the net. Good to see you here. I'm glad you're here. Let's talk. Let's chat. Where are from? Where are you from? Greetings from London. Greetings. Hi. Hey guys. Can you do some ASMR? No, but I love ASMR videos. You're either it's either a really weird coincidence that you're talking to me about ASMR, or you're a perp and you're aware that I really enjoy ASMR. So I don't know which one it is. I don't care. But yeah, I really love ASMR. It's very soothing. Um, from 1994 to 2001, 7 years apart. Wait, are you saying your targeting has stopped in 2001? Whoever we love also becomes a target. Yeah, they started targeting my wife. I just found out. I just found out. A friend of mine told me that somebody that we'd never met, I don't even know who that person is, walked into her pet shop and told her that accused my wife of committing some crime that I'm just not going to talk about, which my wife would never do, you know? And yeah, when I heard that, I was like, and then she told me that she was a client of another person who I actually am aware of who that person is, though I haven't met her. But I've been in the same room as her once, I believe. Um, and I've never spoken to that person. Or maybe I have, I don't remember. But I definitely know this person is involved in my gang stalking because I have proof of it. Her recruiting some of my friends into, becoming perps against me, into turning their backs on me, into abusing me. And, she let me know, my friend let me know that this person who accused my wife of committing a crime is actually a client of that other lady who is a confirmed gang stalker. And that's when I was like, oh, they're going after my wife too. And then I let her know, and that was not a fun time. Um, okay, well, I don't know what's up with you, Jess, but let's strike one. Get some hair dyes. Take off like 10 years of you. I don't want to take 10 years off of me. I'm an old man. That's why I have gray hair. What's wrong with being old? I'm saying the 94 New World Order, then 2001 9/11. Yeah, okay, okay. I'm not well versed into the 94 Denver New World Order at all. So if you want to inform me, then go ahead. Um, hey, a lot of you guys from India and Pakistan are saying, say my name, No. Keep up the good fight. I will. I will. Not because I want to, because I don't want to. I don't want to do this, but because I have to. It's the right thing to do. He came to my house and put on a light show with the UFOs. You're a witness of the Most High. He put on a light show for you? That's interesting. So glad to see you again, my fingers. Okay. Greetings. Currently going through this program. Do you believe this is like a simulation? Hence the program running on us. I don't believe it's a simulation. I don't know exactly what you mean by do I believe it's a simulation, but what I think you're talking about, a simulation, no, I think we're living in reality, and I think that we are in hell. All the demons are here. Yeah. No, I don't think we're in a simulation, man. I think we're surrounded by demons. Drive, baby, drive. Okay. We can't hear you. Ah, that's too bad for you. They can hear me. Um, Sorry to hear about targeting your wife. Yeah, I mean, my wife is not too stressed about it, you know? And I keep telling her, like, yeah, I mean, that's how I felt at first. You know, I wasn't worried about it. I would just block people that I thought were acting weird with me. But this thing gets worse. And I was just telling her, like, be prepared. You know, everything that's happening to me that I'm talking to you about is more than likely going to happen to you in the future, or at least they're going to try. So, you know, don't give them ammo. You know, understand that you're being watched 24/7, whether it be through your phone, your tablets, your TV, whatever. Or maybe you're even being watched, you know, by someone, you know, behind a wall or with hidden cameras. Who knows? Who knows? I just thought I'd let her know. They're gonna use they're gonna use all of your private moments, all of your private life, your private conversations, your private, you know, thoughts. Well, not thoughts, but maybe I don't know. I don't know, but like your private moments when you're talking to yourself, if you're angry or whatever, you talk, you know, like it's, let's say you're mad at someone and you're talking to somebody else about your experience with somebody else, they're going to use that against you to destroy your relationship, you know? Just expect it and don't give them ammo if you can avoid that. I don't think she I don't think she understood quite how, or maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm just projecting on her. Maybe she completely gets it and she's just like, I'm ready. We'll see. I went to jail last week. Didn't know it was illegal to collect them. What? Okay. We're gonna block some perps, guys. I like this game of whack-a-mole. Hey Deb, how's it going? Your hair is fine. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. I cut my own hair. I've been cutting my own hair for like 2 decades now. Some, yeah, 2 decades. A little bit over 2 decades, actually. Um, no, 2 decades. Because I had long hair before. I didn't actually cut it. I would braid it myself. Thanks, Deb. I appreciate it. Somebody says that they're a loser. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. Heath, don't be. People that think the world is a simulation need a dose of reality. Go touch some grass. Be respectful. The word simulation was created within the realm of reality, thus it is not a simulation. Yeah, I don't think we're living in a simulation like the Matrix or whatever. I just think we are where the demons are. For now. China's social credit score system, that's what this is. Yeah. Yeah, law school tool. I'm fully aware of the Chinese social credit score system, how it works, where people who have a low social credit score end up, homelessness, all of that, not being able to rent an apartment, not being able to get or hold a job, things of that nature. And then when you ask people about when you ask Chinese people about the social credit score system, they tell you it doesn't exist. There is no war in Ba Sing Se, right? So I agree. That's pretty much what we're going through, and our score seems to be very low. But you know, it is what it is. Family can be the biggest spies. Yeah, my family members are definitely in on it, and a lot of them have been trying to trip me up or, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? Entrap me. Try to get me to commit a crime. I had a friend who I was talking to, not a family member, but just a friend who I was talking to, who's been like super nice to me for years. And I told him about what was going on, and then he was like, "Oh, is it that guy that's doing it?" And I was like, "Yeah, how do you know?" And he was like, "Oh, you told me years ago." And I was like, "No, I didn't." But then he was like, "Oh, I have pictures of that guy's wife, like, you know, risque pictures of that guy's wife if you want." And I'm like, that's revenge porn, man. Don't send me that." You know, that's a federal crime. You know that he was talking about involving me in, and yeah, I just had the feeling like this guy is like trying to bait me into committing a crime, which I would never do. You know, Because it's like, yeah, I hate that guy, but I don't know his wife. And also, don't send me that. That's You're dirtying my soul, man. Yeah, remote neural monitoring. That's what I was talking about. Remote neural monitoring. I don't know if I don't know if we're being affected by it. Me and my wife, but I know that a lot of people are, and I know that a lot of people their V2K is linked to not just what they do and what they say, but also to what they think. Fortunately, I've never experienced V2K, neither has my wife, but I do have a sibling who has experienced V2K, and I do believe that he's still experiencing it now. Perhaps, maybe, I don't know. I don't know. We're at in the US. I'm from LA. I'm not in the US. I'm in Canada. Just saying hi. Hey, Kia King, how's it going? Shadowban 7 years and counting. Fellow Canadian. Yep, sure am. Whack-a-mole is fun. I remember those days of live streaming. Yeah, I mean, it's fun to ban people, you know. I used to ban them for like 24 hours because I hadn't figured that you could ban them forever. And now I'm banning people forever, and that's more fun. Lost 5 TIs recently. It's cray. Last 4 years. Dang. How? How did they pass? Who do you think who's gonna win the big game? What big game? They alerted my tax payment. Anyone experienced this? Yeah, I have experienced that. As a matter of fact, I have. Do you cut your hair because barbers were intentionally destroying it? This was my experience with beauticians. It's actually a little bit more embarrassing than that. I have not had any barbers destroy my hair or anything like that. It's just when I was a kid, I had this condition um, with my scalp that I had dandruff. I had a dry scalp, right? And I went to this Jamaican barber once with my dad when I was a kid, and he was doing cutting my hair, and there's no dandruff falling all over the place, right? And he's just like, why, wash up. He's telling me wash up, and I'm like super embarrassed. I'm telling him like I do wash up. Like I just took a shower right now before I came to your shop, but I have a dry scalp. There's nothing I could do about it. I don't know what that condition is called. Uh, but he just looked at me like I was a dirty kid, and that embarrassed me. So from that day forward, I just decided I'm gonna cut my own hair. Screw this. I'm not gonna get embarrassed. And I was not embarrassed because he said I was a dirty kid. I was embarrassed because it was in front of my dad, and I didn't live with my dad. So I saw my dad like every 2 weekends, and I'm having this experience with my dad where like this man is calling me a dirty kid. It was embarrassing. And at the time when I was a young kid, I was always trying to impress my dad. So that was embarrassing for me. And for that reason, I stopped going there. And at the time, it felt like a bad thing, but now I'm a barber. So you turn a negative into a positive. I tend to do that a lot in my life. Like I lost my jobs because of the gang stalking. I started a business. I lost my business. I started another one. And here we are. Altered my tax. Yeah, they didn't alter my tax though. At least I don't think so. I don't think so. Maybe. I don't know. Were they were destroying your hair, Annette? How exactly were they destroying your hair? I'd sue. I'd sue. It's because you're remote neural monitoring. My family are serpent seeds. It's okay though. It's all for a reason. What is the reason? Greatest gift of all. What is the greatest gift of all? I can monitor your neurals right this but second and I know what's going on up in there. Well, you know what's happening to you now, don't you? You're banned. Congrats. The digital ID is what they're aiming for, all in one's business, keeping score in society. Yeah, we're headed for a police state worldwide. You know, um, they were using this facial recognition technology in Palestine. The IDF was using that in Palestine. Where like they ask you for your ID if you don't have like at checkpoints, because you can't enter Israel without you know going through some kind of checkpoint, and they check your ID and to see if you're good or if you have warrants or if you're on a list. And there was this woman, this American woman who has moved to Palestine to be with her husband, who's Palestinian, and they were trying to get to Israel, and her husband had forgotten his ID, and then the she said that the border patrol guy had just put like a machine, like a camera machine, like it looked like a phone, to his face and just stood there for a second, and then he looked, and then he said his name out loud. I believe his name was Salim, and he said Salim, and then he said yeah. He said, all right, go ahead. And she couldn't believe it. She was like, wait a second. If he took his phone, took a picture of your face, and then said your name, that means not only are you on a database, but he has facial recognition of technology, but you're on a database, and you're not special. You haven't committed any crimes. You're not even an Israeli citizen. You live in Palestine. They have a database of all of us, and I saw ICE officers doing that to a Hispanic woman who happens to be a citizen. He was asking her. It was all on tape. It was all filmed, with a body cam, and she was filming it with her phone as well. And he was asking her for ID, like as if this was like, you know, Nazi Germany. It's like just walking up to citizens. ID, you look brown and you speak with an accent. Give me your ID. And she was refusing because she's like, I'm a U.S. citizen. I don't have to show you anything. That's not how the law works, which is true. That's not how the law works. You don't have to ID just because a law enforcement officer stops you. There has to be an articulable suspicion that a crime is being committed, and being brown is not, you know, suspicion enough to ID someone. And she was walking; she wasn't driving or anything. So, he really had no reason to stop her, besides the fact that she looked like she might not be born here. And when she refused to give him her ID, he asked her, "Where are you born? Where were you born?" Which is like crazy for a law enforcement officer to ask you where were you born, let alone your ID. And she refused to answer. But then after a while, he just pulled out the little thing and took a picture of her, and then he looked, and then he just told his friend, "Oh, she's good," and they left. Which really let me know that they have face ID, face facial recognition softwares, and they're using it on American citizens, no longer just on Palestinians. And I saw an ICE officer do it again with a protester. They were having an argument back and forth, and then he got real quiet. And he was loud. He was loud and angry. Then he got real quiet. He just pulled out his little thing, and looked for a second. And then the guy asked him, like, why are you taking a picture of me? And he says, "Oh, we have a nice little list, and I'm adding you to it." And as soon as he said that, I was like, "Oh boy, this guy just he just got added to the targeted individuals list." His social credit score just went from 700 to 2. So yeah, they're definitely rolling out all of this stuff on U.S. citizens, and Canada is next. Unbeknownst to a lot of people. A lot of people think that Canada is free country. They have freedom of speech. We don't have freedom of speech here. You may be in prison for any speech that they deem to be hateful, and like that's not a right that we have. We don't have a First Amendment here. You can't say whatever you want, and I mean, the First Amendment protects you from the justice system if you speak your mind, but it doesn't protect you from consequences. Meaning, if you say something racist or sexist, then maybe businesses won't hire you or won't deal with you, or maybe your bank account gets frozen because they're like, we don't like that what you said. But you can't go to prison because you said something hateful. But in Canada you can. But unbeknownst to a lot of people, not only that, but in Canada, Meta does not allow you to share or view news stories of any kind. We do not see news stories. So all the news networks in Canada are blocked. If I go on Fox News Instagram or Fox News Facebook page, it says, your IP address is in Canada. This is restricted. You can't see it. So if that law passed, and it passed, of course, in 2020, if that law passed, I believe 2020, but after 2019, of course, and if that law passed, then facial ID recognition is like, it'll pass like that. They're not gonna fight back. Um, Set up to protect money. Good night, squad. Hey, good night. If Jesus is for me. Shadow ban. Cradle cap. I don't know what cradle cap means. Can you tell me why they did that to your taxes? I'm in USA. Yeah. I would like to know. You know. Um, I would like to know, why did they mess with your tax? How did they mess with your taxes? Will the mark of the beast be enforced on everyone after the events of the rapture? Would the mark be widely accepted due to the fact that they could push assisted on the live eggs on people if they don't? I don't have the answers to that question. I'm sorry. I have no idea. I need a Faraday cage and $1 million. Who doesn't need $1 million, huh? It's funny, when I was a kid, I was like, I want $1 million. And today I realized that $1 million would last me like 3 years because everything costs too much. It's trying to frame me as tax evader. Eesh. Same with other chosen ones. Faraday cage. I'm guessing you're being hit with directed energy weapons. I'm sorry to hear that. I just stopped here for a second. What you're talking about is exactly what's happening to me. And yes, I cut my own hair. Yeah, it's embarrassing. That was an embarrassing moment for me. But now I know how to cut hair really well. I can tell you how to stop gang stalking. No, you can't. No, you can't. Idol LeBron. The owner of a salon came to my chair and asked for my name and number. I gave it to her, though it felt strange. She never called or sent any promotion. The girl put a Kim in my hair. I had to cut it. Dang. I would have found that girl. Oh my god. I would have found her. In fact, they track locations and alert stalkers in the network. Absolutely. They track your location and they alert stalkers that live near you. That's how they follow you. Yeah. I mean, it's happened to me. It hasn't happened to me a lot, but it has happened to me. And it was really obvious that I was being followed. And I just think it's interesting because they don't say anything to you, they don't do anything to you, they just follow you, and like they're creepy or whatever. And I just wish they would do something. I just wish like one of them would like try to start a fight with me or try to assault me. That's my dream. That a gang stalker tries to assault me. I dream of that because it's like, oh, well, now we get to have some fun. Let's dance. Relaxing too much or too little. Had long hair. I suspect they were paid to do so. My main beautician, I noticed a huge switch with her. She died shortly after intentionally. Wow. Yeah. I was gonna post a video of that trans woman who followed me and was harassing me. I don't know if she was a gang stalker, but she did pass away. I believe it was substance abuse. I don't know. I know she was abusing substances for sure, but a lot of people that get involved in this kind of stuff in gang stalking, they seem to pass away in pretty strange ways and early. Well, but it is a possibility that a person did that on purpose. I know there was one a veterinarian. I had done a surgery on my dog, and the veterinarian messed it up on purpose. And when I went to his office to speak to him about the surgery that he messed up and to get him to fix it, I because he had yelled at my girlfriend at the time on a phone, I decided I'm gonna record, and I didn't know I was being gang stalked at the time. I just decided I'm gonna record this interaction because this is crazy. He messed up my dog on purpose, obviously, and now he's yelling when we try to talk to him on the phone about it. That just seemed like a nutty situation. So when we went to his office, my ex at the time had her phone in her pocket and she was recording. And as soon as he got into the office and saw us, he just said, You can record all you want." And we were just like, "How would he even know?" You know? And obviously now I know, you know. But yeah, they can be in on it. What's up, bro? What's up, chat? What is going on here? I don't know what's going on with you. Yeah, and that person could have done it on purpose. I mean, of course, it could be an accident, but I doubt it. They're scanning and databasing. Face filters we're all about face mapping. Yeah, it's clear who's doing this. Only two kingdoms on earth, God and the other one. Yeah. How do you adjust to this onslaught to the best of your ability? Eh? Give your life to Jesus Christ. Huh? Yep, definitely. We have digital directors ID in Australia already. Yeah, Australia and Canada is pretty much the same thing, honestly. It's it's the same thing. I appreciate you for answering my questions. Thanks and God bless you. God bless you. Died intention. What that mean? Say his name. That's weird. I had people, giving me orders. You're banned. I think an online pen name, perhaps. Words have power. Don't invite negativity. That's true, Miss Butterlove. You ain't never lied. That the professionals like doctors, nurses, police, restaurant owners, yeah, yeah, they're able to. I mean, you got to figure that they're not just watching you; they're watching the people you interact with, and if they detect any level of any high level of narcissism in a person around you, they know this person can be manipulated because a narcissist will, no matter how close you are, a narcissist will throw you to the wolves to save themselves and to help themselves. So if they contact a narcissist in your surroundings, whether it be your sibling, your parent, your children, your uncle, aunts, friends, coworkers, or just the owner of the corner store where you like to get your scratch offs or whatever, if they notice someone with a high level of narcissism, they will threaten them and like a carrot and a stick, right? They will tell them, oh, we can give you this if you help us, but also if you don't help us, this could happen to you, right? And then that person is just like, oh well, you know I'm not suffering any consequences for this person. I'm much more important to myself than anybody else. And narcissists have no morals. They're all about self-serving behavior. So throwing you to the wolves in order to advance their own situation and make their own situations better is just like a no-brainer. So always remember, they're not just watching you. They're not just spying on you. And most of this spying is not being done by people. It's being done by AI machines. So they can just set up the system to go spy on another person, and the AI system that they have will take all recordings, and whether audio or video, and title it, and just like, this is what happened, this is what happened, this is what happened, and then they can just go back into the database and just like put in a keyword, and find an interaction that they need to use, that they need in order to use, for blackmail, or in order to turn somebody on you, or turn you to somebody. And it's just like a lot of this is done by AI. It's it's messed up. You would think that all of this technology would go to like making something that is useful to the world, but they're messing with people. It's it's disappointing to say the least. Are you familiar with the apparitions of the Virgin Mary in Medjugorje? She has been appearing daily there for over 44 years. Knowing changes everything. God bless you all. Thanks for the information. I was not aware. So yeah, um, I was actually I wanted to get on live because I wanted to talk about what happened to Greg Bovina. He just got demoted. Poor Greg. Greg Bovino was the head of ICE. I don't know what his exact position is, but ICE is like I would consider ICE to be a secret police at this point because they're wearing masks. They're hiding their faces. They don't have a badge number or anything like that. Any interaction you have with them, you can't name them. So they're secret police, essentially. Even the feds will give you a name. Even the CIA will give. If you interact with them, they'll give you a name. Uh, Hopefully, but ICE will not give you a name. ICE will break the law. I mean, let's. I don't know how you feel about deportation, and it really doesn't matter to me how you feel about deportation. I understand the whole goal for it, um, for deportation. I just think that, you know, criminals should be deported, not citizens. Not like not citizens. Well, citizens are being arrested as well. Let's make no mistakes, and they've been arrested, and they have specific camps for U.S. citizens where they hold them there, away from the illegal immigrants. But when Obama was in office, he deported a lot of people, probably more than Trump, honestly. But like 85% of them were criminals. They had a criminal record. When it comes to what under the administration of Trump, the people that are being taken, it's like 5% criminals, and some of them are actually in the process of becoming citizens, and they're being arrested too. They're being taken in too. So it's just like, come on, man, that shit ain't right. But after the passing of Mr. Peretti, they demoted Greg Movino, and I just think that's really tragic. When I was working, I felt like I was being mobbed for what, never knew, but thinking back on it, I think the vindictive ex had a hand in it too. Um, I know exactly what you mean. At the time that I was being mobbed at my workplaces, to the point where I actually left. I quit 3 jobs and then started my own business because I was sick of working jobs where I kept being mobbed. I didn't understand why. After a while, I kind of put it together. Well, actually, I completely put it together. I was like right on the money about what I thought was going on. But I went to mental institute in my city, and they just told me, "Oh, you're going through psychosis, blah blah blah." And of course, later on, I came to find out that during the MK Ultra experiments, mental institutes were being used. It was actually, most of it was being done by psychiatrists in a mental institute in my city, not the one that I was going to, but I just saw a video of the mental institute that I went to. They have water damage. Some pipes bust in a wall, and they have water damage going on right now. I thought that was really great. I was really happy to see that. Screw 'em. Wrong. They hide their face because some Karen doing TikTok of their face. They are also civilians when duty is over. I don't care. I don't care. Police officers don't hide their face. No. And no matter how you put it, average dude, I'm going to make sure to stay respectful to you. No matter how you put it, these ICE officers are breaking the law. They're stopping people without probable cause and asking them to ID themselves. This isn't Nazi Germany, or maybe it is. This isn't Nazi Germany. That's against the law. Stopping someone and asking them to ID themselves is against the law, because a lot of these people that they're IDing are actual citizens. They've arrested this employee of a Target, who was a citizen, and because he refused to ID, and then once they figured out that he was a citizen, they beat him up, and then they just dropped him off at a Walmart next to the Target that he works at, and it wasn't just him. There was another employee of that Target that they took and did the same thing to. And that kid was like, he was 17, I think, and he was crying because they beat him up. Um, they're not wearing masks because they're afraid of you know what's gonna happen to them. They have their civilians as well. They're wearing masks because they know what they're doing. People don't go after cops because cops don't break the law to the extent that ICE does. What they're doing is against the law. They're violating people's civil rights. That's why they wear a mask. Police exist. They arrest criminals all the time. They don't hide their faces at all. ICE officers hide their face because they know what they're doing is will reasonably incite rage in people, and they're afraid of karma. To manipulate. Only recently reconnected the dots about him. Yeah, it's really a trip. You'll have a lot of moments where you're just sitting at home and rethinking of situations in your life, and you're just like, oh my god, and you're like connecting the dots. That's a fun little experience, and it's something that all TIs sort of have in common. It's just like years later, you're just like recounting interactions, and you're like, oh, that's what that person was talking about. Oh, that person was making reference to like my personal life, or oh, that person was not being nice to me. Actually, they were being sarcastic, or you know, um, yeah. And there's trauma that comes with that. With realizing that your life is not what you thought it was. That people were not being truthful, sincere towards you, that you were surrounded by your enemies and you never noticed until now. There's trauma that comes with that. Hey Simon, how's it going? Um, Adrian Dragos, you love hearing about a man's feelings? I feel like you're being sarcastic. You're about to get blocked. It appears to be an exercise in vindictiveness to me. I was brought in by a cop that I offended after reporting him. Yeah, that's typical. My gang stalking also started because of a law enforcement officer, a police officer in the States. Citizens only taken in after assault the agents. That's not true. That's not true. If you refuse to comply with their breaking the law, with them violating your civil rights, that's not assaulting an agent, and they will take you and hurt you. If a police officer stops me while I'm walking down the street and tells me, give me your ID, I'm going to tell him, well, that's not how the law works. What crime have I committed for you to stop me? Am I free to go? And obviously, if he tells me, you're not free to go, I'm not going to be stupid. I'm going to do what he says, but I am gonna sue after. I'm just saying, it is not illegal to refuse to obey an unlawful order. That's not against the law, and what they're doing is unlawful. It simply is. It's unlawful. Sorry. I'm glad he was demoted. ICE culture needs an overhaul. It sure does. I'm not against deportation at all. I just think, we're deporting illegal immigrants who are working as farmers. Who is that helping? Nobody? All right. It's not like Americans are going to go, work for farms and, pick strawberries all day. That's not happening for like $50 a day. It's not happening. Only illegal immigrants will do that, and be grateful for the opportunity to do so, and that's what keeps your food cheap. But once all the illegal immigrants are in these concentration camps, working slave wages and making millions for billionaires while the price of your food goes up, perhaps you'll start to understand that, oh, I voted for something that was against my best interest. They convinced me again to vote for something that was, or vote and root for something that was against my best interest, that was really in the interest of billionaires who funded the politician that I voted for or that I was supporting. He sold us out. Surprising. Shocking. Politicians sold us out? What? Some of them, well, most are in secret societies and they send their gangs after you when they have a fallout with you. Yeah, that's pretty much, you know, the story of all gang stalkers. All gang stalking victims, targeted individuals, is they pissed off somebody. They pissed off the wrong person. Whether it be by whistleblowing, by breaking up with someone, by outing someone as an abuser, by, doing something that ended up in a perceived disrespect. It's just egomaniacs that have access to put people on a list and ruin their lives, and they quite enjoy it. The dark web type beat. Um, you just read the reason. Lol. Okay. That needs to stop, but I agree with everything else. What needs to stop? What do you need? What do you mean? They need to focus on actual criminals, don't they? We're in agreement. We're in agreement, Adrian. We're in agreement. We agree 100%. I think that criminal illegal immigrants who have criminal records should be deported immediately. Immediately. These people do not belong in your country or in mine. I don't, there is no, I have no, I wouldn't say no empathy because, not all criminals are bad people. Some people were, driven to commit crime and got caught or whatever. But I'm not making exceptions for criminals, you know. All of you should be deported. All of them. If you have a criminal record and you're illegal in this country, go back to yours, you know. But if you're coming into my country as an illegal immigrant and you're willing to work jobs that no one here is willing to work for a salary that no one is willing to accept, then, you know, this situation is helping you because you're getting more opportunities in my country than in yours. And it's also helping us because we're able to take advantage of your cheap labor. And I'm not saying that's right, but I'm just saying leave those people alone. Who are they hurting? Nobody? Come on. In my country we have programs where, these Nicaraguans, these Guatemalans. The word in French is Guatemaltec. I don't know if it's like the same thing in English, but Mexicans come into our country. The government invites them in a work program to come here, and we're glad to have them. And then they go back when winter comes. They go back to their country with the money that they were able to amass. I just think, you know, it is better that these illegal immigrants who don't have criminal records work these jobs that keep the prices of everything low because they are cheap labor than to have these illegal immigrants who have no criminal record be in concentration camps where they're working jobs for $1 a day, making millions for billionaires. I don't want to get upset. Um, I'm sorry about your situation. Yeah. Is that a new country? What new country? They need to focus on actually. Yeah. But I don't think I've going and asking random people for ID unless they're being messed with in most cases. Well, I don't think ICE is going and asking random people. Well, you'd be wrong about that. You'd be completely wrong. I mean, and I don't mean to be disrespectful in any way to you, because I respect people who have a different opinion than mine. I don't even have an issue with people who are racist. If you're racist, that's your problem. And racism is just ignorance, and people are human. I accept people as human. Humans are flawed. But right is right, wrong is wrong, true is true, false is false. Saying that ICE is not harassing citizens, that's not true. That's simply not true. They're harassing citizens. They're harassing people just because they speak with an accent, or they look a different color, or they just look like they're not from here, and they're asking them for ID. Or they go into neighborhoods where they know that there's a lot of them, and they're stopping people because they look like they're foreign and asking them for ID. And IDing someone because they look foreign is illegal. It's against your civil rights. And perhaps you're not seeing it because you're not looking for it, but it's happening a lot every day. But I respect you sharing your opinion, Adrian, and I want you to know that I respect you, man. I don't have any issue with you because you're for deportation or anything like that, or you're for ICE. I don't have an issue with it. I mean, obviously, I'm not for ICE, but I don't have an issue with your stance. The emotionally mature. You never knew he was so emotionally fragile. Yeah, narcissists are very fragile. They already have their broken ego that's telling them all types of horrible things about themselves constantly, all day, every day. When you add on to that, you're confirming what the broken ego is already telling them, which are terrible things all day, every day. So you think that what you said or what you did to them is like super small, but to them it's huge, and it could be such a small thing, like even just breaking up with them. You think, oh well, the relationship is over, it's not a big deal. I left them, and I didn't we didn't end on like a bad, like bad terms or anything like that. But rejecting them is really confirming what their broken ego is saying to them, and that's why they're upset. So it's often they're not even upset at you, they're upset that you are recreating the reality that their broken ego is telling them, and you're breaking the fantasy of them being perfect and flawless. And that fantasy of being perfect and flawless is the only thing protecting them from that broken ego that is constantly telling them you're worthless. So they have fragile egos. Yeah. Targets need a Deus ex machine, not a therapist. I don't know what a Deus ex machine is. Sorry. Preddy wasn't assaulting anyone. He sure wasn't. Well, let's be honest about what Preddy did, right? He saw an ICE officer and a woman having an interaction, and that woman was only filming the officers. The officer told the lady to back up. She didn't, and she doesn't have to. She wasn't in impeding with his operations. She can film. It's legal. And that officer really violently pushed her to the point where she fell. And Alex Peretti put his hand and between him and the girl and was protecting her. I mean, he didn't hurt the officer or push off the officer. He just put his hand between, he touched him. He touched the officer, and he put his hand between him and the officer, and then the officer started pepper spraying at him, and then he turned around, and he was, putting his hands up, and then he was about to pick up the lady, but the officer was chasing after him and trying to put the pepper spray in his face, but he wasn't able to, and then, disaster struck. But he didn't assault the officer. He didn't do anything that required the use of such force, and they unalived them after they disarmed him. And I think it's horrible that in the news you have I think it's what's her face, that lady, that lady who I don't know her name. It doesn't matter. But I think it's awful that these officials got on TV, including Bovino, and some news anchor as well, got on the news to say that he was there with no ID, and he was armed, and he had extra mags, and it just seemed like he was there to cause maximum damage. His firearm was holstered the whole time, and And then they said, oh well, he put his, it was holstered behind his back, and at one point in the video, you could see him putting his hand behind his back, and it's like, one, he was already disarmed by the time he put his hand behind his back. Two, he had just been shot in the back. Yeah, he put his hand behind his back. He just received a bullet in it, and then they just dumped their mag on him. You know, an ICU nurse for veterans. Unforgivable. They can't reason with you aside from bringing in an army of demons. What's that all about? Yeah, I mean, sorry about that. These are not reasonable people. You cannot reason with the unreasonable. I knew this cop for years. He was super helpful. His name was Alan. Knew him since we were kids, but we kind of went our own ways. No comments. Not sure what to think. Well, no comments. Maybe it was that he moved to USA while we parted ways, but he was super helpful to me for years. No comments. Kind in life, you remember people like that. It's kind of sad to lose contact also. Are you talking about the officer who unalived Peretti, or are you talking about somebody else? I'm sorry. I'm a little lost. There are some good cops. Okay. Maybe it was maybe it's about being the boss and being in control of a part of one's life. Yeah, I mean, sure it is. Sure it is. Narcissists believe that they can own people. And of course, someone who believes that they're righteous in stalking someone, they think they own you. They think you're their toy, their possession. And that's dangerous. And I think there's not enough information on how dangerous, and there's not how dangerous that mindset is, because if they think they own you, they also think that if you don't do what they want you to do, if you don't behave the way that they want you to behave, they think they're allowed to do whatever it is that they want with you, including breaking you, getting rid of you, disposing of you. There's not enough laws around the whole idea of stalking or just behavior that revolves around people who think they own others. The enemy of my enemy is sometimes our friends. Who are you talking about? Look at you, how you talk. Do you think you're going to talk like that in your country right now? I do not think so. Ungrateful spirit. Look at you, how you talk. Do you think you're going to talk like that in your country right now? Well, I'm in Canada. And I am talking how I'm talking. Live, by the way. So I'm not sure what you mean exactly, James Epps. I am talking how I'm talking. Publicly. I'm not sure what you mean. Meet some American cops. Oh, whack-a-mole. Whack. There's no nuance to the problem, just black and white. If you have a criminal record, you should leave. I agree. I agree. I think illegal immigrants who have criminal records should not be able to stay. I think they should be deported. Lock those thugs up. What? Get him, Kevin. Jay being very disrespectful in a clowning way. Who's Jay? You mean Jim? Yeah, he's gone. But there's a few bad apples. I don't know, man. A few bad apples. I don't want to talk about cops. Sounds very Christ-like. What do you mean sounds very Christ-like? You have an accent. Where is it from? Guess. I really like internal affairs. I would have loved a job there. Okay. Can I trust America to help out with gang stalking? Nope. They're the ones doing it, baby. It's the federal government. We have work programs in the US. That is not the issue. It's not random. You may think it is. There's a difference. Yeah, well, Ninja Turtle, Birdo, like I said, I respect everybody. I respect everybody's right to have an opinion, but that's wrong. I have several footage where they go into people's business or, stop people who are just walking to ask them for their IDs, and then they provide ID, and then they just move on because they realize, oh, I stopped a U.S. citizen. But you know, no matter how you put it, arresting a U.S. citizen because you think he's an illegal, and asking them to show ID, and then telling them if you don't show your ID, you're going to go to prison. That's illegal. That's breaking the law. I just saw a video where they entered ICE officers, like maybe nine of them, entered this laundromat business, and they asked the cashier to show ID. And while they're asking her, they're like super intimidating and they're all on her. And every time she backs away, they like step into her space. As she's walking to go get her passport, they're like really like they're touching her, like walking like on her, and they're telling her like you're going to jail today, you're gonna get arrested today, you're gonna get deported today. And the lady is just like not saying much. She just reaches into her bag, pulls out her passport, and gives it to him. And then he just looks at it and he says, "You're lucky." And he walks away. They all walk away. That's illegal. That happened. I saw it with my eyes. That's illegal. And it's not a rarity. It's not something that happens sometimes. It's happening all over your country. And if you choose to be blind to it, I understand why, because it is hard to accept that you have been wrong. You know, that's hard, but it takes bravery. But I do believe that you have it in you. You know, and that perhaps not today, not tonight, but perhaps one day you'll realize, hey, I was wrong. These people are breaking the law. These people are Gestapo. These people are, you know, infringing on people's First Amendments and civil rights, you know? Or maybe you won't. And even if you don't, doesn't matter. I don't view you any differently. It took me a while as well to realize that, hey, Obama's not different. Obama's not different from any of them. Hey, Bill Clinton is not different from any of them. I don't, you know, I used to be liberal, very liberal. I would say I'm conservative now, but I'm definitely not liberal. But it took me a while to realize, oh, all of them are the same. There is no opposing team. They're all pushing the same, agenda, no matter which side it is. Has voting made your life better ever? When Trump was running, he was promising all of these things. He's done almost none of them. He was promising, oh, we're not going to war. No more useless wars. All right. You're confused. Yesterday you said this is your third language. Now you're saying it is my third language. English is my third language. What? My first language is French. My second language is Haitian Creole. My third language is English. It's so strange. I feel like a lot of perps. I'm not saying you're a perp. You probably are, but I'm not saying you're a perp. But a lot of perps seem so interested in trying to catch me in a lie. I'm not lying. English is my third language. Um, Alberto, an American name. No. This guy is a bullshitter. Yesterday you said this is your third language. It's very fishy and dangerous. Yeah, you're a perp. You're a perp. You're definitely a perp. I'm going bald. You're going blocked. Would you like to eat what? I don't know what that is, but you're blocked. He brandished a weapon, period. Well, um You can think he brandished a weapon. He had a phone in his hand. He did not have a weapon in his hands, but that's okay. That's okay. Thank God for ice. All right. He did not, you moron. He had a license. He did have a license to carry. I don't think he had it with him. Maybe he did. I don't know. But when you carry a weapon, you're supposed to have your ID on you, and he didn't have his ID on him, which is a misdemeanor, not a felony. It does not carry a death sentence either. And they couldn't have known that he didn't have his ID on him, unless, unless they did what they did. I just think it's strange when people think that you deserve a death penalty for resisting arrest. Not that he was resisting arrest, but even if he was, a lot of people were talking about online, talking about like, oh, George Floyd this, George Floyd that, he was a criminal and blah blah blah. And I'm just like, okay, well, you know, let's say George Floyd was resisting arrest, which he wasn't. We saw the video. He wasn't. When he was on the live, he was already in handcuffs on the floor, not moving, just screaming that he can't breathe. I saw a video of somebody getting swatted because they had a fake weapon in a hotel room, and these were white men, and one of the guys, the SWAT team told him to get out of the room, hands up, face away from us, get on the ground, crawl towards us, all these commands, right? And as he's crawling towards them, his pants were falling down, and he kept pulling them up. And every time he would pull them up, the one of the officer would tell him like, stop doing that. Put your hands straight forward. Keep crawling. And he's trying to explain that his pants are falling, and there was just no understanding for him at that point, because they saw him with what looked like a weapon, and it wasn't. It wasn't a weapon. It was a replica, a toy, and you know the officers were saying, "Oh, we feared for our life," and he's complying to the best of his ability with all the orders that's being given to him, and he's crawling towards the officers, and he told them, "The next time you put your hands down, I will shoot you." And the guy is like super stressed, probably high too, you know, and he's doing his best, crawling towards them, and his pants went down again, and he pulled his pants up a third time, and the officer just unloaded in this guy, and this is a white guy, and a lot of people were saying, "Oh, where's the outrage for that guy? Everybody's outraged for George Floyd." And I'm just like, we're not celebrating this guy's death. His death was wrong too. I don't care what color he was. Not only was he not resisting arrest, he was complying to the best of his ability when he was unalived. It's a terrible thing, you know. I just think, there's such a lack of empathy for people when we feel that, oh, it's not our team. We're in the same team. We're all human. If you can't see that, there's a really like an issue with you. If anyway, I don't want to get into like the whole idea of you know, what if it was the other way, and what if it was Obama's secret police in the street or whatever? Because I don't think a good faith argument is possible with people who agree with the actions of ICE, who have now fired weapons at 3 people, 2 of them being resulting in fatalities. Um, I'm just saying, it's very strange. It's very strange to me, and I think that my thinking is probably strange to a lot of you guys as well, because you lack empathy. And I don't hate you for lacking empathy, but when you think a certain way, you think other people think like you, and it's very strange to me that you lack empathy Resisting arrest is not cause for being unalived. Not cooperating is not a reason to be unalived. Protesting is not a reason to be unalived. It just seems to be, it seems to me that the cognitive dissonance of being on a being on a team of the guys who are breaking the law and violating people's civil rights, it's causing you guys a lot of stress, and you're unable to admit to the fact that we voted for this guy and he's encouraging violating people's rights. And you'll say stuff like, oh, that's not true, they're not stopping citizens, when there's footage of it, plenty of it. And no matter what is shown to you, you'll just say, oh, well, you'll move the goalpost. You know, if I showed you if I showed you plenty of videos of it happening, you would just move the goalpost, which is why, I don't agree. I don't argue. So whatever. You were revolutionary on Judas and the Black Messiah. You were blocked on the day of January 27th. That's the biggest well-kept secret on earth. Well, according to the Bible, all people are not human. Some are the seed of serpents. Those are my beliefs. That's what I believe. I wouldn't go around looking at their behavior. I'd rather just seek out divine intervention. Just because people do something doesn't mean it really matters. I don't know what you mean. That one is so silly and emotionally immature. Please bounce him. James, can you tell us about the government of Canada? Which one you don't like? Yeah, I'm bouncing him right now. Someone get rid of this troublemaker. He's clearly here to stir. Big dog, corn dog. Who are you talking about? James? Yeah, he's gone. He's gone. Those people are so sensitive and fragile. They're so easy to offend. Yeah, narcissists are super fragile. Both sides of the same coin. Yeah, Democrats, Republicans. Obama dropped bombs on Syrians, innocent people. I believe it was a wedding. He dropped bombs on children. I don't think there's a single president who has not dropped bombs on children. I'm not okay with that. I'm not okay with any of them. I wonder if Bernie Sanders would have dropped bombs on children. Maybe. Maybe. Hillary Clinton definitely would have dropped bombs on children. Her husband did. Yeah, I'm just not for Republican, Democrat. I just think anyone who's made it to the top of the ladder of the political world is slimy. Nice waves and beard, sir. Thanks, man. Thanks. Appreciate it. Thank you. I'm enjoying this before I go bald, if I ever go bald. I don't think I will, but could happen. You are a cat. I'm cat. Okay. I don't know what you mean. What stopped you from standing up for that woman? For what woman? What woman are you talking about? Let him cook. Was I cooking? Was I cooking? Many people forget Christ said to forget about the Pharisees because it was pointless. I love that passage when Jesus talks about the Pharisees. Very relevant to today's time. Ooh, somebody mentioned EBT blocked. Keep chasing that Deus Ex. You really need divine intervention more than you need therapy. That's a joke, especially in this situation. Okay. I'm currently in the process of getting my visa, and it's not that difficult. I don't think it matters how easy or difficult it is. What I'm saying is, if you're in a process of getting your visa, you can be arrested and sent to a ICE detention facility. Plenty of people who are in the process of getting their visas are are being held in ICE detention facilities because you don't have it yet and you're in a country. They're not just arresting people who came to the country illegally at this point. I think when you're on the side of the right, you tend to not hear what the other side is saying. And, the media is designed that way. But the truth is that they're not just arresting people who are here illegally, they're also arresting people who are doing it the right way. There was an intervention, an ICE raid at a government office where, immigrants were about to take the oath and become citizens on that day. ICE raided that place and sent everybody home. And then they promptly arrested all of them. These people were doing it the right way. And of course, they won't tell you that on the news networks that you watch if you're on the side of the right. But that's a fact. These are facts. I'm not making any of this up, and I'm not on the side of the left. You know what I mean? That happened. So I don't mean to scare you or to cause you stress with cognitive dissonance at Baumel. I don't know if I said that right, but if you were accosted by an ICE officer, you would be deported. And if you don't believe me, seek them out. Seek them out and tell them your situation. See how that goes for you. Keep us posted. Like I said, I'm not. I know I don't sound super respectful. I apologize for it, and I'm not trying to be sarcastic right now. But I'm telling you the truth. If you were accosted by an ICE officer, you would be deported. In your situation, where you're currently in the process of getting a visa, if you don't have a green card, if you don't have a work permit, even if you had a work permit, if you don't have citizenship, you would be deported. There are plenty of people who are currently working to get their visas, who are now being held in an ICE detention facility, and they're working for a corporation. I'm not going to name them, but a corporation getting paid $1 a day. And then at the end of the week, if you want to make a phone call, it's $5. And if you make a phone call that costs $5 and the person doesn't pick up and you end up having to leave a voicemail, you just lost $5. That's the situation that they're living right now in these for-profit prisons. And it could happen to you. Baumel. Couple of Christian cops. ICE coming for you next. Ooh. Well, I'm legal. I'm a citizen. Anarchy in the chat, so messy. Take it somewhere else. Yeah, that troublemaker has been banned. He is right. Unfortunately, I am right. They're trying to get rid of criminals. Well, see, I'd be okay with that if they were trying to get rid of criminals. I would be okay with that. The thing is, Obama deported much more people than Trump has. But when Obama did it, 80%, 85% of these people had a criminal record. When it comes to the people being detained by ICE right now, 5% of them have a criminal record. It's very different. If they were trying to get rid of criminals, and if their actions portrayed that they are trying to get rid of criminals, I would be all for it, because I am for getting rid of illegal immigrants who have a criminal record. If you have a criminal record, get out of my country. I don't want you here. That's the truth. And well, how do I know? Don't ask me how I know. Do your research and you'll figure it out, you know? I mean, all you really need to do, again, I'm not trying to sound disrespectful to you 888 here and now, but do your research. You'll find the information. It's out there. The issue is that when you watch the news, they're not telling you these pertinent facts. They're curtailing, I think that's the word. I don't know. They're, you know, giving you the information that they want you to know. But if you only watch Fox News, then you only get one side. If you watch CNN, you only get one side. But if you watch both, or you watch, news stories that are more neutral, then you'll have that information. But the truth is that within the people that are being detained by ICE right now, only 5% of them, only approximately 5% of them have a criminal record. The rest of them are workers, farmers, people that work in factories, people that work for corporations, and they're taking, you know, measly salaries, cheap labor. They're rounding up the cheap labor, illegal immigrants, in order to put them in for-profit prisons, in order to make millions for billionaires, because these billionaires funded Trump, and that's what they want. They sold you on the agenda of getting rid of criminals, but really what they're doing is they're reinstating slavery. They got you to vote in favor of something that is going to work against you, because once they get rid of that cheap labor, the prices go up. The price of everything goes up. But don't believe me, you're going to find out. You're going to find out what happens once the cheap labor of your country, the illegal immigrants, are all rounded up and they're no longer working for corporations. Because one thing about corporations is they don't care about you at all. You don't have to believe me. You can do your research. You're going to find out. What's your favorite book in the Bible of the Bible? I like Psalms. Well, thanks for subscribing, Rain. Do you have family that's targeted? We targeted since 2005. Honestly, most of these people are random people. Anyways, yeah. If you say ICE goes around clearly deleting lives, but if it's somebody you don't like, does it mean anything important? Not really. I'm not sure I understand what you mean. Was it you watching the Destiny anti-debate about 12 hours ago? I don't watch Destiny. Destiny is argues in bad faith. And you can tell that sometimes he argues points that he doesn't actually believe in. I find that annoying. It's 47 days training. That's it for ICE. ICE is a military goon squad. Very much so. Narcissists need us to survive. That's why they do it. 100%. They need to feed their egos, and we are the fuel. We're food. We're food to them. They're emotional vampires. They feed on us. They're parasites. Emotional parasites. God first. God first, indeed. Amen. Proverbs. I like Proverbs. Proverbs is good. I like the story of David. I love the story of David. So yeah. I I really think that we ought to be doing more in order to unite the nation against what's coming for us. Because what we're going through, this gang stalking, that's nothing. That's nothing. What's coming for us? The police state. Ooh. What psychedelics have you experienced? Like magic mushrooms, LSD, DMT? What have you taken away from it? I've never taken drugs. I've smoked marijuana 3 times in my life. I did not enjoy it. I don't drink alcohol either. I'm not interested in drugs. Sorry. I love all psychedelics, but there is a time and season for everything. Go ask Alice. Okay. They use directed energy weapons on the Venezuelan president. Yeah. Yeah. He did interviews with his security and well, whack-a-mole. They did they did interviews with his some of the soldiers that were watching him. They said that what the experience was like. It felt like their brains were going to explode in their minds, and they started having nosebleeds. Nausea. They could barely move. I wonder if the U.S. is the only country to have these weapons. It would if the U.S. is the only country to have these weapons, it would explain why they're so brazen about their relationships with other countries and talks of war. Because if I was a narcissist and I had access to these weapons and I was looking to inflict chaos on the world as they do, I'd be confident. I'd be like, oh, I have some toys that I'm itching, I'm fiending to show you. You know what I mean? But yeah, toward the Terra. Hey, I'm glad you're here. Glad you're back. Aren't you from the Toronto area? How do the police in Toronto interact with you, or do they avoid you? I'm not in Toronto. I'm close to Toronto, but I'm not in Toronto. I'm about 6 hours away, in a different state or province, as we call it here. I don't have many interactions with the police. I've had one lately. I got a speeding ticket because there's this road that goes 90 kilometers an hour, then 70. Like it's 90 for like a really long time, then it's 70, then it goes to 50. But I missed the sign 70, and there was a cop waiting for me, and he gave me a ticket, and that was pretty much it. I got a ticket maybe, I want to say 6 years ago for doing an illegal U-turn as well. And the cop was a guy I went to high school with, and he said, "I'm not gonna give you a ticket for the illegal U-turn, but your insurance is expired." And then I told him, "No, my insurance is not expired. I might have given you the wrong paper." And then I was looking for the other paper, and then he just kind of looked at me. He's like, "Dude, the penalty for an illegal U-turn is much higher than an expired insurance." And then I was like, "What?" And he was like, "Your insurance is expired, right?" And I was like, "Yeah, my insurance is expired. Thank you. Have a good day." And he left. But I knew him from high school. I don't think he remembered me, but I remembered him because he's noticeably different from other people. I'm just gonna put it that way. He's a noticeable guy. But yeah, these are the only interactions I've had with police officers. Actually, no. When I went to school to start my business, after being workplace mobbed, I was going to school. It was early in the morning. I was going to school downtown in Montreal, and I live in Montreal. I was going to school downtown in Montreal, and I turned. I did a left turn where somewhere where there was a sign saying no left turns, and I did a left turn, and I had this cop behind me, and I thought he was trying to pass me, so I parked my car waiting for him to pass me. But then after maybe like 20 seconds, I realized, oh, he's still here, and he's not moving. He's here for me. So then I like turned my music down, and I put my window down, and he got out of his car, and he started yelling. He's like, "Yo, you did a illegal left turn. Didn't you see that sign, dude?" And he's like screaming at me, and I'm like, "No, I didn't. The sun is in my eye and everything, and I don't drive downtown usually, and I don't because I hate being downtown." And he just, I think he called me an idiot. And he said, "Watch where you're going or whatever." But I mean, he wasn't nice, but he didn't give me a ticket. He just gave me a warning and went on his way. And I was like, oh, great, awesome. But yeah, I'm not from Toronto. I'm from Montreal. New ice coming, better believe that. All right. Oh, nice. I would not want to be in Toronto these days. Imagine if the electricity shut down tonight or during rush hour. You'd be stuck on the 401 for days. I hate the 401. I used to have a girlfriend that lived near Toronto. It's a 6 hour drive to go see her. I went to go stay with her for a couple of days during Christmas break. And then I found out who she was and I broke up with her like 2 days before Christmas because she was trying to use me to make her the father of her children jealous. Like she was saying, "Oh, my ex-husband is coming to pick up the kids." And then when he knocked on the door, she wanted me to go open a door so that he would see me. And I was like, "I don't want to do that. That's whack." And then she got super upset with me, but she wouldn't say anything. She was like really quiet about it, but like she really definitely changed her attitude and she became super rude and mean. And I was like, "Oh, okay. All right. I, I see how you treat people." And I saw her being disrespectful to her dad, but I figured, maybe her dad did something, And I thought it was weird because her dad is a Haitian man just like me, and I was like, why are you taking this from your daughter? Every time you talk, she rolls her eyes at you and she tells you to stop talking. Like, what's going on here? You know? And then when she did that to the father of her children, or she was trying to use me to hurt him, and then when I refused to take part in it, she was, being rude to me. I was like, oh, okay. And at that she didn't know it, but at that moment I was already like, oh, I'm never gonna see her again. And she was like trying to make peace with me, like after she realized like um that I was acting different. I was like rejecting her advances, and the next day I woke up and she made my favorite meal, and I was just like, here we go, borderline personality disorder at work. and 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 then I went home, and while driving on the way back, I just called her and told her, "Hey, I'm not interested in being with you anymore." And she came to see me the next day, and she was like, "Oh, I just want to give you your Christmas present," and it was a McDonald's gift card. It was a McDonald's gift card, and I was just like, "Thanks." And I could tell like she wanted to like rekindle something, but I was just like, "No, I'm cool, I'm good." And I never saw her again. Mm-mm-mm-mm. How how your day been going? My day's good. My family has been paramedics. I've been around police my whole life. Cops aren't scary. They're just people doing a job. Well, let's agree to disagree. Toronto is a jungle. I live here my whole life. Yes, they've used the towers. There's seven at least beside me directly on in March 2025, and it failed. Yeah, I mean, as far as like losing power, like losing electricity, just because we get storms in Canada doesn't mean that we'll lose power. We usually don't actually. Unless it's like freezing rain, then it can happen. But we usually don't. Our infrastructure is built to withstand storms. Um, Toronto is a unique terrasphere to navigate spiritually and physically. Physically, you have to know how to move in Toronto, or you will get caught up. I can deal with Toronto terror, but like you gotta know how to move. My experience of Toronto is that people are nice. There's a lot of the rumor about where I live is that people are warm and inviting, and that's not true. It's not true at all. I used to live in Montreal's West Island, which is pretty much Ontario. It's pretty much like Toronto, and West Island people are very warm, and most of them don't really speak French. They only speak English. Like it's to that point. But when you go into the east of Montreal, where everybody speaks French, and it's very rare that you'll meet people who speak English, And a lot of people will not even like you if you speak English to them. They just have this resentment towards Anglophones from losing the war in 1700. But they don't like Anglophones. But in my opinion, in comparison to Toronto and to West Island, people in Montreal are pretty cold. I'm not saying like the outskirts of Montreal. Like people on the outskirts of Montreal are usually pretty warm, nice people, but um, Montreal is like New York light, pretty much. What does the narcissistic cow say? Me? That's a good one. Psychology, bro. Women love it. Yeah. The only time I'm not getting zapped by microwave weapons is when I'm riding my mountain bike. If you walk or drive in a straight line on a predetermined path, you'll get followed by a cell tower beam. That happened to me. If you ride a mountain bike in an unpredictable manner, the laser beam can't follow you. Well, that's good information. That's good to know. Hey, have a good night. Be on the net. Talk to you soon. I'm glad you were here. So yeah, I was traumatized today. I saw another video of a woman who was fired upon by ICE, and she's running away, and then she collapses, and her legs are just not working properly. I hope she makes it. I hope nothing terrible happens to her. It seems like they shot her in the back. They might have touched her spine. If you can find five friends with a neutral personality and are not defensive when you talk about politics and religion and family, you made it. Well, I haven't made it. I'm definitely a person now. I wasn't before. I used to be liberal, and I was like, all conservatives are racist, and these people are gun nuts, and today I'm like, oh, we all should bear arms, all of us. Um, but I used to be a liberal, and you couldn't talk to me about Trump or abortion or any issue that the right and the left don't agree on. And now it's just like I don't take anything personal, and I'm very centered anyway. So Deb says I love Montreal. Well, Montreal is beautiful. Montreal it's a beautiful city for sure. Um, I think the reason why I don't like it is because I was born there. So I don't like it. I think Montreal is dirty. I like the outskirts of Montreal, the cities outside of Montreal. The further I get from Montreal, the more I like it. I don't like Montreal at all. I like the old port though. I like the old port. I don't like downtown at all. Maser is an old technology, same as a laser, but it is a microwave frequency instead of a visible light frequency. If you can hit something with a laser, you can hit it with a microwave beam maser. Oh, that's what you call it, maser. Hmm. Yeah. I guess you would be referring to a sonic weapon, like a high frequency laser sonic weapon. Is that what you mean? Centered equals neutral personality. Yeah. I mean, they're just not around. There's not a lot of centered people. Most people have bought into um, one side of the brainwashing system. They believe, oh, my guy is the good guy. Your guy is getting paid by the same person as the other guy. They're being funded by the same people, and they're pushing the same agenda. And every year, um, our situations get worse. Our living situation get worse. I was talking to my father-in-law, who's African. He was born in Africa, lives in Africa, West Africa. And I was telling him how the conditions of living here are, like work, jobs. He was saying, "Oh, there's not a lot of job opportunities in my country. Here in this country, you have a lot of job opportunities, a lot more, anyways." And I was saying, "Yeah, but jobs in here and jobs in your country are not the same. You know, you go to the South or Central America for vacation, and you'll find out very quickly that they're on island timing. They're not stressed about anything. They're not in a hurry about anything. You better be patient with these people, because they're just not stressed." And he was like, "Yeah, no, in my country it's the same. You go to work, on your lunch hour. If you take, a couple more minutes or an hour or 2 hours more than you should, it's not a big deal. You just tell them, oh, we have family over, or whatever. Your boss tells you, hey, make this delivery for me. Instead of taking 10 minutes, you take 45. It's not that big of a deal. It's no big deal. And I was explaining to him here, if you have a 15-minute break, if you take 16 minutes, it's a problem. He couldn't believe it. He was like, "What?" I was like, "Yeah, man. Here, if you have a 15-minute break, if you take 16, you're gonna get an email. You're gonna get written up. Your boss is gonna message you. Your boss's boss is gonna message you. You're gonna get, you're gonna be pulled into an office and you're gonna be reprimanded because you're stealing time." He couldn't believe it. He was like, "What is this?" I was like, "It's the plantation, my boy." And he was, yeah. So, yeah, capitalism. Same frequency that your microwave oven emits, 2.45 gigahertz, being sent out into a beam. How does that work? Low frequencies being sent out into a beam. So directed energy weapons is what you're talking about. Two flies on a camel's ass. Which one is the boxer? The one in the ring. Two flies on a camel's ass. I just got it. That's funny. They get paid by the same people. Yeah, they do get paid by the same people. Doesn't matter if they're on the right or the left. You know, corporations will back both politicians because they're just trying to advance their agenda, what it is that they want. You know, for-profit prisons owners will tell politicians to classify marijuana as a class one drug, the same as cocaine and crack. You know, just so that people who get arrested with marijuana will go to prison so that they can have cheap labor, slave labor. Because, if they're paying you 80 cents an hour, but you're using that money to buy your food, it's slave labor. But yeah, you know, they're just pushing the agenda of what corporations are asking them to do. And we think that, oh, this politician he's a good one and he's for the people and he's going to do what it is that we ask him to do. You didn't put him in power. You voted for him. You didn't put him in power. He needed money to campaign. And whoever paid him now, he's in debt to. He has to do what they said. That's our political system. Until you stop voting for people who are being backed financially by corporations, people who have an agenda, billionaires, you're never going to have a politician who's going to have your best interest at heart, because billionaires don't have your best interest at heart. A billionaire's position on, the workforce is get the most out of them. Get the most out of them, give them as little as possible. We have competitors. We need to beat them. And, the only way to beat them is to take your labor for as cheap as possible. So, yeah, if you want real change, you got to vote for people who are not being backed by pretty much anyone. I mean, it's never going to happen. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. That's never going to happen. Not in our lifetime. They're just not going to allow it. I'm just saying. If that's what you want, if what you want is political leaders who will do what's in your best interest, then you need to vote for the people who are not backed by corporations. Because one thing that we can all agree on when it comes to the corporations is they don't care about you. They don't give a flying about you. I assume a sonic weapon is something within the spectrum of the human hearing range. Not always, but yeah, V2K would count as a sonic weapon. Sonic meaning sound waves. Yeah. Dig in your Bible, twin. I am digging in the Bible. Will do, servant rooster. 100%. Amen. Way I see it, make your money and go abroad. It's only going to get worse, man. Crime is rising and people are carrying less. Scary times. I agree. I agree. I want to leave. I don't want to stay here. I don't really judge by who plays the character, but sometimes they make light-hearted films every now and then. What are we talking about? Like you can clearly tell somebody made it about 50 years ago and they're just playing the character. The modern films are just pushing an agenda. Hmm. I hear you. I was reprimanded today. What for? Why were you reprimanded? The thing is, we live in the modern age. It's not close to a century ago anymore. Well, we are speaking in terms of Transformers analogy now, like Autobots and Decepticons. What? What? I just continue. I've never seen these movies, Transformer movies. I don't know if that's what you're talking about, or if you're talking about something else, but I've never seen these movies. I did see Deus Ex Machina. I thought that was a great movie. I just continue to say you need that Deus Ex, especially when they're attacking your ability to live. What's a Deus Ex? I'm sorry. Deus Ex Machina meaning an unexpected power or event saving a seemingly hopeless situation, especially as a contrived plot device in a play or a novel. You're talking about divine intervention, right? We need divine intervention, is what you're saying. Am I correct? Hey, mister. A proud Canadian here that loves your content. My daughter married an American man and I haven't seen her in over 6 months because I am now terrified of crossing the border. Well, you should be. Don't go there. Peppermint Pammy. I'm glad to have you as a fan. I'm glad that you like the page. Have you as a fan? That's presumptuous. I'm glad that you like my content. um, that makes me happy. But yeah, definitely don't cross the border. Don't go there. If your daughter wants to come back, let her come back, but do not go there. I would never go to America ever for any reason. I had a guy give me an opportunity to make like a bunch of money by going over there, and I was just like, I'm not going to America. Never gonna happen. I'm targeted already. That's not happening. I think people. I love your calmness. Thank you. I think people are stuck in the box. They don't realize what other places are like. Yeah, that's true. My wife keeps saying, "Oh, I want to go. I want to go back to my country. I want to show you where I was born." My wife came here when she was 15, so she's not used to living here quite like I am being born here. And she's like, "Oh, I just want to show you my country." And I'm always telling her, like, I'm afraid of going to your country. She's like, "Why?" Like, "'Cause I'm afraid I'll never go, I'll never come back." I'm pretty sure I'm never coming back. And she's like, "Oh, we'll just go see it. And if you like it, we can like set it up and go back." I'm like, "No, no, no. If I leave and go to your country, I've met your people. I've met your family. If I leave and go there, I'm never going back. I hate it here." I mean, the gang stalking is definitely part of the reason why I hate it here. If there was no gang stalking, I probably would not hate it as much, but I hate it here. And I'm not saying that gang stalking will stop once I leave. I'm pretty sure it will continue, but I do hate it here. The wiki page on Mazer would tell you better. Anybody who is targeted should educate themselves on frequencies. I will. I will educate myself on frequencies. Thank you. I just made a post on my channel. It shows a good chart of frequencies. Well, that's even better because I don't like reading. It's tedious to me. I think I follow you already. Wait, what's your channel? Sorry, I can't find your channel. Streets are lethal. They sure are. Stop telling me to say things, man. Don't give me orders. Because if you could be at home, why would you be on the roads? Yeah, for sure. Avoid the system. Simple as that. I 100% agree. I'm doing everything I can to avoid the system, but the system keeps finding me. Pete Cabrera Jr., The School of Identity and Lifestyle. Who is Pete Cabrera Jr.? Trouble found me. Take you to the promised land. You won't promise, I promise, man. Oh, seems like he's a pastor of some kind. You had subbed, you mentioned. Torben Sundergaard, I did sub to him. I've never heard of Pete Cabrera though. I do remember you talking about him. He's because he's Slavic. He has a very rememberable name. But you hadn't spoken to me about Pete Cabrera. But I'm on his page. I'll check him out. Are you in Ontario? We should grab a coffee sometime. I'm gonna be on the road quite a bit. Well, I'm not in Ontario. I'm in Quebec. I don't think my wife would like it very much if we grabbed coffee. Did you know whenever there's a cure for cancer, the person who finds the cure will get disappeared forever? I'm not trying to get disappeared. I'm just kidding. I am aware of that. But it's not just that. There was a guy who invented a car that was fueled by water. And he was getting threats and veiled threats and things of that nature. And then he went to a restaurant and he was eating. And they believe he was poisoned. Of course, no, his autopsy said that it was accidental death. But as he was passing away, he kept saying, "I've been poisoned. I've been poisoned. I've been poisoned." But yeah, you can't invent something that will put a whole industry, like a whole $1 billion industry, on its butt and expect them not to like unalive you. If you find a cure for cancer, as it is said in my language, va te refaire sur Jupiter, which means go live on Jupiter, go rebuild your life on Jupiter. I think it's silly. It's a bit funny how humans operate when they have greed in their hearts, when they're void of morality, when they're not God fearing. We can do some really awful things, eh? I find myself often disappointed at human nature, what we are capable of. I was having this conversation with my cousin, one of my oldest ones, my second oldest cousin actually, and we used to be on good terms. And then I told him about gang stalking, and I think he was intimidated by. I think he was intimidated intellectually by our conversation, and now when he talks to me, he just seems annoyed all the time. And I told him about the sonic weapons being used in Venezuela, and I showed him the article, and he was like, "Yeah, so." And then I was like, "Well, you said that there were no sonic weapons. Here they are saying that they were hit with sonic weapons." And he was saying, "No, I didn't say there was no sonic weapons. I said that you can't, you know, point point it at people like some kind of laser. It's a broad weapon, like a broad target weapon." And I was like, "Okay, sure." Um, and he was like, "I gotta go, man. I'm watching a movie with the wife." And I don't know. It kind of makes me sad, because what he said that upset me was, you know, at first, before we got into sonic weapons, when I showed him the article, he was just like, "Well, whatever, like that's how things go. If the U.S. wants to like take their resources and take over their country, that's the game. You know, they were able to do it with like minimal casualties. That's even better. But that's how things go." And I was just like, what an interesting take. They went into their country, removed the leader, and unalived some people, Venezuelans, Cubans. And your take is that's how it goes. Stole their oil, unalived some fishermen while accusing them of being drug smugglers, while showing no proof of it. You're okay with that? I mean, I didn't have the conversation with him. I just told him that's an interesting take for sure. And then I moved on with the conversation. But I was really shocked because being a drug smuggler, the sentence for being found guilty of drug smuggling is not the death sentence, but that's the sentence that they got. Um, and for me to hear my cousin, one of my second oldest cousin, I have a lot of cousins, like way over 200. And for me to hear him say something like that, it kind of troubled me. I was like, "Whoa, you don't have empathy, man." And I mean, I love my cousin. Don't get me wrong. I still love my cousin. I'm disappointed that our relationship is a bit sour right now. I still love my cousin, and I don't think he's in on my gang stalking. I know one of his brother, at least one of his brother, is in on it for sure. I don't think he is though. Nonetheless, I I I find it very disappointing when you have discussions with people and they're able to speak freely and they really display how they lack empathy. People were unalived. Your your take on it is that's the way it goes. That's the game. I can't help but feel like, I would never say this to him, but it's like, what if your loved ones were affected? What if we were at war with another country and your loved ones were affected and somebody said that about your loved ones? You would crush their heads. Can you not see how these people are humans? Human beings are being played in this game for profit, losing their lives. Is that all you have to say? And maybe he would have, said, "No, I don't mean it that way." I don't know what he would have said. I just thought that was a really crazy take. It's too bad that we are, well, at the very least, I feel like we're on weird grounds and talking to him. I just feel like I'm annoying him when I talk to him. Hmm. Anyways, I once had a narcissistic wife. Horrible. That's a nightmare. I hope you don't have kids with her. I dated a narcissist for 13 years. That was a nightmare. I don't actually see you for who you are, just a bruised version of you. Are you talking about me? The love of many has waxed cold. I don't know what you mean. If people realize you'd hit them if you got the opportunity to do so really quickly, then they kind of understand where they stand, if that makes sense. That is true. You gotta have steel huevos. Sometimes some people are not worthy of certain knowledge as they are not prepared for it. That is true. That is true. Could you give us life advice? Stay off the internet. That's good advice. Oh, whack-a-mole. Boom. Sad we live in such a planet. Isn't it, Emma? That is sad. It's very sad. Stanley Meyer. Who's Stanley Meyer? Yeah, it was Stanley Meyer. You're right. He invented a water-powered car. Hey, man. Dragon, stick around, man. I like talking to you. You're a smart man. It was Stanley Meyer. He invented a water-powered car, and in 1998, he passed away. He was poisoned. Kimberly says you have nice teeth. Thank you. I appreciate the compliment. That's very nice. Don't grab anything. It's not safe. What do you mean? Don't grab anything. Don't grab what? Kindly watch their healing videos first. These are the best channels I've come across in 15 years. I will. I will watch them. Don't you worry. I'll watch them. How do you get over being upset with all of this going on? Perps and all trying to ruin you. I think that understanding the mentality behind narcissists is what helps me the most. It also helps me realize that these people are not worth it. They're not worth the effort. And also, the effort would not, I mean, the effort, as in like arguing or interacting with them on any level, would not amount to anything positive. It would only amount to something negative. And it's like when you're in quicksand, and I do feel like being gang stalked is like quicksand. When you're in a quicksand, thrashing and panicking and getting upset is the worst thing you can do. The best thing to do is to remain calm. So when you understand their mentality, when you understand your enemy, it's easy to not get upset. And I'm not saying I never get upset. It's just I don't stay upset, and I don't act based on my upset feelings. When I'm upset, I just acknowledge that I'm upset, and I'll do something to channel my negative feelings. But I don't cast my precious pearls onto swine and try to argue or get into battles of words with narcissists. And I always tell myself, there's nothing I can do. If one of them put their hands on me, then I'm going all out. But that hasn't happened. I would only get myself into trouble. You're only gonna make your situation worse if you react, because they're always watching you constantly. Like, even if, for example, somebody does something really rotten to you, you know, and I don't know, say I'm thinking about Lisa Legg here. They're poisoning her pets. Like, let's say somebody poisoned your pets, you could, be home and say something like, "I'll poison your family member" or something like that. Now they have footage of you saying it. They're gonna use that against you to ruin your reputation further. You know what I mean? So it's not just not interacting with them, but it's also keeping in mind that you're playing, they're playing the gotcha game. They're poking and poking and poking and poking and provoking you for you to react so that they can have something on you. Because the truth is, when they targeted you, they had nothing. but they're building a case against you. You don't want to give them ammo, and also it's not worth it. These people are unimportant. As much as I realize they're hurting you, they're hurting your life. As much as they're doing, these people just don't matter in the grand scheme of things. You know, you can be upset all you want, but once you realize that, there's a growing army of people that are trying to destroy your life, that are plotting on your demise, you have to understand that somebody's gonna be on your team. Somebody has to be on your team, and it's gonna have to be you, because there's nobody else there, you know. And no matter how much empathy other people may give you, it doesn't matter, because they're not gonna save you, and they're not gonna do anything about what's happening to you, you know. And that's one thing that I've come to realize and accept, is that it doesn't matter that no one believes me, because even if people around me did believe me, they can't do anything about what's happening to me. It doesn't matter. So at a certain point, you know, that sentence that used to annoy me a lot when people would say it, which is focus on what you can do, it becomes the only thing you can do. Focus on what you can control, you know? And it's funny, the first time that someone said that to me, focus on what you can control, I opened up my Facebook and I saw a meme of a guy laying down on the road who had tripped, and a Mack truck headed straight for him, about to take him out. And there's somebody on the sidewalk screaming, "Focus on what you can control." And I mean, I knew that this was like a targeted, like directed conversation type of thing, which they often do. Like the first thing you see when you open up your app is often the first or the second, especially when it's ads. It's often targeted towards targeted individuals, to like send a message to get them upset. Because when you're upset, you're easy to predict. Like if you're upset, if I can control your emotions, I can control you. And if you're upset, then I can predict what you're gonna do when you're upset. And I just have to keep pushing you and nudging you and nudging you. And that's like CIA 101, that's what they do. Is it's mind control basically. Um, but when you're upset, you're predictable, and they can make you fall into traps very easily. And sometimes it's not like a big trap. It's just like we're gonna slowly erode at this person, get them upset, and then have someone message them about something that's gonna make them suspicious of that person, and then you'll unfriend that person on Facebook. And now that you unfriended that person on Facebook, that person is upset with you, and now they're able to turn that person against you, which they couldn't have done as easily if you hadn't unfriended them, but they orchestrated you. You know what it's like? It's a very, they think 10 steps ahead of you, and they've been doing this for like way longer than you can imagine. This is not their first rodeo, but it's yours. It's your first time doing, going through this. um so you can't make decisions when you're upset. You just gotta roll with the punches, take it on the chin, I guess. Pause. um Will I be surprised and dumbfounded? No, I'm expecting it, and I'll be quickly on the move whether or not I run or chase them down. It's still the same response. Hmm. One thing to take away: your enemy will only interrupt you if you are on the right path. You got that right. Them harassing us is confirmation we are doing it right. They are fearful when they come here otherwise. That's true. When I started to not accept that I was going through psychosis, but I started to accept that I was going to live as if I accept that I was just going through psychosis, and not investigate my gang stalking further. They left me alone for a long time. If you're on the right path, if you're getting targeted, and they're pushing, they're provoking, they're really going after you, then it usually means that you're on the right path. You're doing something right, and they don't like it. So you know view it that way. And a lot of people who have substance abuse issues will often say, when they're relapsing, usually they'll be left alone. I mean, I wouldn't know what that's like, but that's what I've been hearing a lot. Um, Wars of attrition, degradation over long times. Yeah, those entrapments. Hmm. It's a war of attrition. Yeah, it's death by a thousand cuts. Silent, slow kill, silent torture. It's not really physical in nature, anyways. Uh, Everything I need is in your backyard. Dog poop? I'd be quick to retaliate, but 90% of the times I don't because of it's just nothing good will come of it. Don't get me wrong, if somebody puts their hands on you, like, please demolish that person, break a bone. But all their tactics hold plausible deniability, and it will be it will work against you to retaliate to their actions because they'll just be able to point the finger at you and say, look, he's crazy. He thinks that we're after him and he thinks all these things and he has no proof of it. And, it's all a game. It's all a game to them. If you're playing basketball with someone who keeps double dribbling and, he just keeps breaking the rule and every time you call it, he just pretends like he didn't hear you. The only thing he can do is take your ball and go home. Who is being hateful? Learn not to hate, brother, but pray for them. Mm. I judge no one but authentic knowledge I love. Auto prosecution, dead man switch. Elaborate on that, Asium. Auto prosecution? What do you mean? Angry won't get you anywhere but bad, brother. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Some of the things people see here are utterly repulsive. Yeah, are there perps? Machiavelli. Yeah, Marcos is probably possibly a perp. Who do you think you are to judge suffering and worthiness of Gnosis? Hmm. Don't grab that coffee. What? It doesn't matter what they do. We be quick to retaliate. They play the patient game with you. Yeah. Yeah. I feel like I annoy anyone when I talk to anyone at all due to the trauma-based mind control. Yeah, I often feel like I'm annoying and like I'll talk to my wife about stuff and then I'll just be like, I'm sorry, like this must be heavy or whatever. And she's just like, just keep talking. Like you're not bothering me. I'm your wife. I'm just like, oh, I'm sorry. I've all my life I felt like I've attracted people that basically were, users and takers and, you know, I would have annoyed them. And I know for a fact I would have annoyed them because when I was with my ex, who was a covert narcissist, highly narcissistic, and I talked to her about my situation, she was always annoyed. She was like, "Figure it out." And I don't know, whatever. She had like no empathy whatsoever. Actually, I remember it's funny. I remember when I ended up breaking up with her, um, on Christmas as well. When I ended up breaking up with her, um, on December 24th. No, December 25th. On December 25th, uh, we lived together for a couple of months before I could find an apartment. I left her, I left the house. I didn't take any part of it or anything like that. I just said, I don't care. Keep everything. I just want, what's mine, and that's it. And while I was leaving, I told her, like, by the way, I just want to let you know you're a narcissist, and you and I were finished. We're through. You put your hands on me. I'm not interested in rekindling anything because I know for a fact that this is not something I can accept. and I know for a fact you're going to do it again because of the person I've become now that I've grown a backbone. When you don't get your way and you get upset, you're gonna put your hands on me again, and eventually I'm gonna put my hands on right back on you, and that can't happen. So we're done. But I do want to let you know that you're a narcissist, and not for me, but for your next partner. You know, this is going to ruin a lot of a lot of relationships for you. This is something you should work on. This is back when I was just starting to learn about narcissism, and I thought that it was possible to cure it, right? Um, and I just let it know this is something you might want to work on, you know, because your narcissism is going to destroy you, not just good people, but also your opportunity at a good relationship, you know. And what she answered me was it's so revealing of the fact that she knew the whole time, right? What she said to me was, I said, you know, you're a narcissist. You need to work on it for your next relationship, blah, blah. And then she looked at me and she said, I don't have to change. And I was like, why? And she said, I just have to find another person that has a lot of empathy. These are the exact words she told me. I don't have to change. I just have to find another person that has a lot of empathy. And immediately when she said that, I was like, she knows. She's known all along. For 13 years, she knows she's a narcissist. I'm not the first person to tell her. She knows what a narcissist is. She knows she's a narcissist and she knows what she's after. The reason why we were together is because I had toxic empathy where I felt empathy for the person hurting me. That was uh that was mind-blowing. Anyways, it's all about control for them. They feed off of that. Yep. Do you support Google cybersecurity employees role playing on YouTube and social media as content creators and chat users worldwide? That question is a bit complicated. I don't know. Damn, OG, you told her that you a real one. Well, we had been broken up for a couple of maybe like a month and a half at the time where I told her that. Um, I didn't care. It's funny. You know, when it comes to narcissists, you know, I mean, I don't like to upset anyone, including narcissists, but sometimes, you know, I can't help it. I'm just like I'm a truth teller, you know? Sometimes I can't help but tell the truth, and you're not supposed to call out a narcissist, but sometimes I really can't help it, you know? I feel bad for the law enforcement officer who have to deal with their games nonstop and follow orders. They must be morally down now. Same with the nurses. I can't imagine the level of nihilism now for them. Asm, Asm, police officers and nurses are some of the highest, score some of the highest in narcissism. About, I think it's 80% of police officers have domestic violence complaints on them. Nurses don't have empathy. You would think that police officers and nurses would have empathy, right? Because they're public servants and nurses are nurses, right? Um, Police officers have weapons. You know, they should have empathy, but that's not the truth. These people often make victims, and the workplace bullying that takes place in nursing environments and in police departments would blow your mind if you spoke with a person who is not narcissistic who works in these environments. If they told you about the bullying that happens in these places, you would lose your mind. I mean, it's on the level of gang stalking. Most of them are narcissists. Like way past 75% of nurses and police officers are narcissists. I mean, think about the position of police officer itself. It's a position of power. Narcissists seek status, power, and fame. control. Law enforcement officers, most of them are narcissists. Not all, definitely most. It's really the untouchables thinking they're all that. However, if they were to really see what reality would bring, it would erase that idea really quickly. Well, some people have, I mean, they live a lie, you know, they accept to live outside of reality in a fantasy world, and that's the only thing that protects them from their broken ego that is constantly berating them. Accepting reality is akin to death for them. I mean, I really think people going through gang stalking should really inform themselves on narcissism. Lucky for you, my page used to be about narcissism for about 5 years. So if you go back into the catalog of videos I've made, you'll learn about narcissism. I explain it in great detail, situations, things of that nature. I mean, this page used to be about narcissism. Even if you look into my bio, on my page, it doesn't even talk about gang stalking. It talks about narcissism because that's what this page used to be about. The war against narcissism. I just started talking about gang stalking in December. Well, no, not in December. I got monetized in December. But I mean, I just started this. I think it's been what, 5 months now? Lucky for me, gang stalkers are narcissists. So it's not a foreign subject to me. I just think one thing they aren't aware of is that somebody will retaliate against them in front of their face. Well, unfortunately, a lot of times we don't know who exactly our gang stalkers are, or who are the originators of our gang stalking, or they're just not reachable people. So we can't retaliate on them. Unfortunately, the people that get retaliated against when that does happen is the flying monkeys, the people that are the proxies, the people that are sent by gang stalkers to abuse us, and they pay the price. It is what it is. Anybody in the chat want to help me out? I got 600 per month. If you want a new roommate, I gotta rent a room in Ontario very soon. Hey, Toward the Terra needs needs a room in Ontario. If you guys can help her out, that'd be nice. Help my girl out. Auto prosecution. I established a contingency protocol. I hard coded an AI LLM, then backed up or packed on multiple secure drives. So if they get me one day, the files on these people will get dropped. Mutually assured destruction. I like that. I like that. I also have a device like that, but it's a bit different. Were you married? I wasn't married, but I was in a long-term relationship with a narcissist for 13 years. Boy, how green I was, how empathetic I was, how malleable, manipulable I was. Wow. I think I don't think she'll ever be able to find someone like that, And we started dating when I was 18, maybe 19. 19. I don't think she'll ever be able to find someone like that, I mean, I was really the perfect target for a narcissist. Just prime. I remember I was on dating apps, dating after her, and when I broke up with her, the day after, one of our mutual friends calls me and says, "Hey, I just saw your ex-girlfriend at the liquor store." And I was like, "What? She doesn't drink. She never drinks. What are you talking about?" She's like, "Yeah, I saw her with a guy that he kind of looks like you." And I was like, "Wait a second," because her ex-boyfriend, was a guy, I don't think he looks like me, but kinda. So I sent her a picture. I'm like, was that the guy? And she was like, yeah. After 13 years of being with her, uh, I left her, and a day after I moved out, her ex was with her. That I thought that was really funny. And but what really was funny to me was 2 months after that, I was on a dating app and I saw her profile, which let me know that she was single as well. And I had like a smile from ear to ear when I saw that. I couldn't help but laugh. And to my knowledge, I think she's still single. Yeah, it is what it is. Clash Royale clan leader. What? Yeah, you're out, dude. You're out. God blessings. Honestly, I'm not really playing with these gang stalkers or these narcissists. If they only understood they're beyond their mortality. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of perps in the chat. It's all good. I like to play whack-a-mole. I remember you mentioned your dog training experience. Have you witnessed any narc survival behavior in dogs in rage-filled homes? Narc survival behavior in dogs? Dogs are codependents. Cats are narcissists, but dogs are codependents. They're definitely codependents. I love dogs. Um, but yeah, there's definitely narc survival behavior in dogs. They're codependents. Dogs are self-love deficients. They constantly need you to like love on them. Meanwhile, a cat is like, pet me if I want. And if I don't want to anymore, I'll bite you. You invite a cat into your home, within 20 minutes, that cat thinks you live with them. It's their home. Cats will like bark orders at you. Dogs will wait your command. What are we doing? Do you go out punching them because they're trying to intimidate you? No. I don't go out punching anybody. What? I confronted the issue, repented, found Christ, and still years later they're targeting and dragging us to hell still. Why? I mean, they don't care, if you're a Christian or if you're not a Christian, or a lot of targets will say like, oh, um, they're sending me messages that they want me to do better in life. They want me to change this, change that. That's just mind control. That's a game. It's called moving the goalpost, you know? And no one should be able to get to tell you what to do and what to say in your life. Like, you're a free person, you know? You have your own free will. Don't buy into this idea that, oh, they want the best for you. They want the best for you, so they cost you your jobs, all your relationships, your family, your mental health. Come on. Come on. They're awful people. They're demons. They don't want the best for you at all. They want your soul. This is a slow kill, silent torture program. It's all it is. When dealing with narcissists, understand that all interactions with them, everything they do and say, is a manipulation. In the sense that they'll never tell you what it is that they actually want from you. But really, what they want from you is narcissistic supply through your destruction. Whack-a-mole. Most of the time, you don't want to take serious action anyways because of the nature of the situation. Yeah, you can't. You'll just get in trouble. You'll make your situation worse. Forget about it. Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. Polygraph bunker? I just found out that my best friend of 24 years is a narc. Well, if your best friend is a narc, you probably have a lot more narcs in your life. So you might want to investigate. Writing on a front lawn? What would you write on a front lawn, Tora de Terra? They do pay people to gather information on dating apps. I mean, I guess they do. Sure. I don't think I've been sent honeypots. I've dated a lot of women, a lot of them. When I got single after 13 years, I went crazy. I wish I hadn't slept with any of them. I wish I hadn't slept with any of them. Um, but yeah, I don't think any of them were honeypots. Unless. But then maybe it's just me because I'm like, if you're being sent as a honeypot, you wouldn't sleep with a person you're setting up, would you? But then again, I'm like, these people don't have morals. They would. So maybe I did get sent a honeypot. I don't know. Ghost Samurai says you're a coward. Well, Ghost Samurai, you're being put on timeout for 24 hours because you can't disrespect people in a chat, man. Do not disrespect people in a chat. Don't do that again, or I'm going to ban you forever. The military officers go through training to respect for their authority, and the police are taught to believe they have all the power. Yeah, they are. That's how it goes. Isn't thinking there is a group of people obsessed with messing with you narcissistic? There's nothing to gain. I'm not going to go into details about, why they would do it. All I'm going to say is it is a impossible probability that all of us are suffering from the same delusion. So it's either real, it's either the gang stalking program is real and you can't figure out what they're gaining from it because you don't know history and you haven't heard of the Gestapo or the Stasi, um, COINTELPRO, MK Ultra. You haven't heard of these things, or we are all suffering from the same delusion, which is also an impossible probability. Which one is it? Which impossible probability is it? Find out in the next episode of Dragon Ball Z. What are you doing here if you don't believe in gang stalking? Get the hell out of here, dude. Um, that video is me spraying the snow on my front lawn writing about cell phone interceptors. Did you do that? Tor de Terra, what's your channel? I want to see. Don't do anything crazy now. You'll get your chance. Don't waste it over some mind games. That's true when they're playing these illusions. If one of Kevin's dogs, it's one of Kevin's dogs snoring. Yeah, it's Stella snoring her life away. Look up targeted individuals' patents, then Google the code number. It will tell you everything. Next time the lights dim, the devil will conquer. I come like the shadow of the night. Man, shut up, man. Be quiet. I hear that person sleeping sound like my baby girl. Yeah, that's my dog. Big stretch. You look mad young, but you're gray. Is that hereditary? I'm asking because my barber says I'm graying at a young age. You tell me, I don't know. They want the best for themselves and ruin everything else. They believe if we have elation, they must be down. This is literally their belief. They need someone to suffer for their happiness. 100%. When it comes to narcissists, they believe life is a zero-sum game. They believe in order to be happy, they must take someone's joy away. And that's the only way for them to be happy. Um, they can only feel smart if they make you feel dumb. They can only feel important if they're able to make others feel unimportant, which is why they're rude to staff, like servers, things of that nature. Because if they can make them feel beneath them, then it makes them feel more. It makes them feel important. That's the only way they feel important. And the reason why they keep doing that is because those feelings that they get from treating others badly, they're fleeting. It's like pouring water into a, um, a pot with holes at the bottom, right? If you fill it a lot, then it makes them feel good. And, if they can maintain that, then it makes them feel always, you know, satisfied and they become overt narcissists. But if their cup runneth um, empty, then they become more covert because they're unable to create the illusion of to recreate the illusion of the fantasy in real life. And the fantasy is, I'm the best, I'm the most important, I'm the smartest, I'm the greatest, I'm the most handsome, I'm the prettiest, I'm, whatever. That's the fantasy that they have in their minds, that is constantly fighting against the broken ego that is telling them that they're worthless, that they're the worst, that they're, everything bad in this world. And their fantasy, which is the narcissism, is is them saying back to the broken ego, no, I'm not the worst, I'm the best, I'm not stupid, I'm the smartest, I'm all of that. But if they're unable to have reality recreate that, for example, if you're a narcissist, but you're a football player and you're a star of your team, then yeah, you're able to recreate the illusion of your fantasy in the real world, because everybody loves you, all the girls want you, everybody admires you. You're though you have sorry, my battery's running out. Though you have a cup with holes at the bottom, you are able to keep your cup full because there's people are constantly pouring into it. Your reality, it reflects your delusion. However, if you're, 4'9", not very pretty to look at, you have a speech impediment, uh, you have acne, and you know, life is rough on you, let's say, right? You're unable to recreate that illusion you have in your mind. Um, and then you'll become more covert and more of a shy narcissist and sort of like a victim narcissist. Um, Other people will use the term borderline. You'll have borderline personality disorder. Anyways, King War J says, you've got some questions. I feel like they're about to be really dumb questions, but we'll see. God bless you and your loved ones. No matter what you're going through, good times or hard ones, God is always with you and He never leaves your side. May He protect you and your loved ones from all evil. Amen. Brendan McKinley keeps saying kangaroos. Uh, you're annoying. I'm gonna ban you. Um, I used to be a narcissist. I can actually empathize with you, perps, but you refuse the help we offer. What? What are you talking about, Asium? The oh, you're talking to Ghost Samurai. He's gone. He's gone. During a civil war is just free for all and reality hits. No more games. That's almost like a breath of freedom. There's no civil war going on, guys. Somebody is snoring the narc away. Finally, some critically good advice in the comments here that isn't trolling. Stella has sleep barking. That's funny. I like that. Black don't crack. The secret is lotion. It's just lotion. It's not genetics. Black people don't have, uh, you know, better skin than white people. It's just that when we when we clean our skin, when we wash our face, when we get out of the shower, if we don't put lotion on, we're ashy. And it shows because we have dark skin. So we put lotion all the time, every day. And white people don't. Most white people don't put lotion on every day in their face, especially not like heavy lotion, because a lot of them, it'll give them acne because they're blocking their pores and their skin is not used to that. But yeah, if you put lotion on your skin every day, good lotion, the Jergens, if you put lotion on your skin every day, then your skin will age um, less quickly. Real estate mobbing. What do you mean by real estate mobbing? Both of my bosses have been putting me through. Both of your bosses have been putting you through gang stalking, Christina Williams. What do you have two bosses? What do you do? Narcs try to steal your light. Quite literally, they try to steal your light. The same qualities that attract a narc to you are the same qualities that they will start to resent you for, because when they got with you, they thought that they could emulate it from you, or steal it from you, really, in a way. And once they realize that they can't take it from you and that you are not faking it, this is actually who you are, um, they can't accept that because you have something that they don't, and they hate you for it. It's very, it's very sad. And I feel that if there was more education on what a narcissist is, their divorce wouldn't be so high, because a lot of people who get married, they get married because of the love bombing phase. They think, oh my God, I found this person who's so perfect and all of that, blah, blah. We never fight and all of that, right? And what you don't realize is that, yeah, if you never fight, that's a bad sign, Before you marry someone, you should probably know how they fight, because a lot of people will not show you who they really are until you're in a fight with them. And who you are when you don't get your way is who, is your true personality. I love my wife. I love the way that she fights. Um, she's very patient. She allows me room to realize when I'm wrong. She apologizes when she's wrong, and she's never disrespectful. And if she is disrespectful, I just let her know, like, hey, I will not accept that. And she's quiet, and she'll come and apologize later, or apologize immediately if, you know, she says something that was disrespectful. And, you know, the same for me. If I'm upset and I do something wrong, and I don't apologize in the moment, she will give me space. She will give me the grace to come back later on and tell her, I'm an idiot. I'm sorry. I apologize. So I really think that narcissism should be um, more narcissism information should be more spread out. The only issue is that the narcissists would hear it as well, and they would adapt to it. But you know, you can only hide your true nature for so long. If people were patient in dating and in all relationships before giving to people what they want, sleeping with people, you'd find out pretty quickly who that person really is, if you just waited, if you just made them wait for what they want, because narcissists are not willing to wait for what it is that they actually want. They want to trap you. Narcissists don't have the ability to feel internal emotions, but they can see them. Narcs feel pain and anxiety. They register as sensations because they are mostly numb. I tend to disagree with that. I think psychopaths tend to be mostly numb. They feel, like primal emotions like anger, you know, not necessarily fear, but narcissists are highly emotional. The real issue with narcissists is that they think their emotions are reality. So if they feel hurt by your actions, they think you hurt them. Or if they feel jealous of you, they think you're making them jealous. I'd say that this is a more accurate way of describing narcissists. They think their feelings are reality. They think their emotions are reality. When they want something, they think they need it. I honestly find watching real medical dramas like House MD or forensic shows like Law and Order or The Mentalist very therapeutic for deprogramming, learning the game, and how to exit gnosis. I do too. I don't know what gnosis it means, but learning the game, deprogramming, yeah. I think these shows are, these psychological based shows are very therapeutic, relaxing, informational. Yeah. Both of my bosses have been putting me through absolute hell for 8 months, and that is why I'm looking for another job. Well, if you're being gangstalked, Christina, Miss Williams, I want you to know that it will follow you. So you might as well try to figure out how to make it stop where you are because it's going to follow you, more than likely. Borderlines are hypersensitive. Yes, they are. Christina, just quit. On the day you leave, say F you, OpenAI can do everything this committee could do in 50 years, in 5 minutes. Govern yourselves accordingly. Um, yeah, I mean, if you're being targeted and you don't like the job and you can find better, then go for it. All I'm saying is that if you're being gangstalked, this follows you. And maybe it won't be immediately. Maybe it won't be like in 2 months after. Maybe it'll be in 8 years. You know, I feel like if it is in 8 years, then it might be worth it. But maybe it'll be like a week after. Maybe they stop you from getting a job before you get it. I mean, let's not look into like worst case scenarios because um, that's not helpful. I'm just saying if there's a way of keeping your job, if you think it's worth it, if there's a way of keeping your job and getting the harassment to stop or um, making it less worse or being able to manage it. I mean, I don't want to minimize what you're going through because I've went through it and it doesn't sound as bad as it is when you talk about workplace mobbing, but workplace mobbing is like a really harsh experience that leads a lot of people to ideations of isekai. Um, but I would say you might want to look into ways to fix the situation without leaving, such as speaking to HR, though that usually is not very helpful. But if you threaten them with a lawsuit, then HR, HR, they're just people, Even if, for example, they're in on your gang stalking, they're still just people. And if they think you're about to cost them their jobs because you're about to, put them through a lawsuit that could have been avoided if they did their jobs, or if they fixed the issue, then in their minds they're thinking, I could get fired if this goes to a lawsuit, you know? Like I'm okay with taking money and gang stalking this person and abusing this person, but if it's gonna cost me my job, screw that. So if going to HR could help, I would go to HR, amass as much evidence as you can of the abuse, record people. I don't care if they say recording people is illegal. Record people, record interactions, save emails, anything that can show a pattern of abuse, because usually like one interaction is not enough to like be like, oh well, he did that, and people will be like, well, maybe he was having a bad day, or you're reading into it or whatever. But if you can show a pattern of abusive behavior and show it to HR and tell them you either do something or I'm going to sue your company, you included, then at that point, HR is no longer thinking, uh, it's what's best for me is continue abusing this person and um, get my paycheck from the Secret Service that has contacted me to abuse you. Or if they're not in on it, they're no longer thinking, if I just ignore this will go away. They're thinking, I have to make this end or I could lose my job. And, you know, my job matters to me. I'm moving to Detroit from England. Any advice? Second Amendment. Second Amendment. Yeah. Melanin is the secret. Maybe it is. Actually, black people have melanin that produces vitamin D, and vitamin D is essential in collagen production. And that could be true. That could be true. Stealing light, aka soul swapping. Yeah, absolutely, soul swapping. They want to, destiny swapping. They want what you have. They want your life. They want to be you. They want to steal everything you own that they don't have. They're jealous of you. You're my favorite. Whack. Body cam off since Vietnam. Okay. There are so many pages about narcissism. Yeah, there's a lot. There's quite a bit. My favorite is The Little Shaman. Man, I love the way that Sindel, the Little Shaman, um, I love the way that she delivers her message. It's really like a wake up, get out of your relationship. You know, the Little Shaman. She's great. It's not a good feeling to be genuinely attacked by someone you'll never look at them with trust again, especially the untouchables. If they get crazed, they'll lose that affiliation with you. What do you mean by the untouchables? Are you black? Are you blocked? You might be. Say something else. Whack. All right. They already look at us with maximum contempt, but if they get the message that they don't matter, let's make a deal. Be careful. Record, document everything, save it all. 100%. Yeah. A new set of perps have joined the chat. Yeah, I've noticed that, huh? These people are absolute losers. But honestly, I enjoy banning them. I mean, they show up in every single live I do. Is there like a more, and they always say the same thing. They always talk about the same things. They'll talk about like me being LGBT, or me being looking like Diddy, um, my gray hair. What else do they talk about? They always talk about the same thing. It's can you make it more obvious? But whack-a-mole is fun. What lawyer is going to take a case against the gang stalkers, aka the government? Well, against the government, I don't think that you have enough proof to sue the government. And either way, you're not going to win that. They print the money, buddy. But if you're the target of bullying, organized harassment, and you have proof of it, organized harassment is illegal. Defamation is illegal. You can take them to civil court for sure. Pain and suffering, loss of business. There's plenty of things that you can do. You absolutely can get a lawyer that will take a case for organized harassment if you have enough proof. 100%. Record and look up the targeted individual's patents so you have the proper terminology so that perps can't say you're schizophrenic. Yeah. There's no such thing as gang stalking in court. That's not a thing. If you say gang stalking to a judge, you're gonna lose credibility like crazy, you know? So luck is great, but most of life is hard work. Life is hard enough. Mm. Go 2 3 years Dagestan and forget. Okay, dumb. Oh, there's a lot of perps in here. They advertise all live chats on YouTube. Yeah, but you know, these people that come in the chat talking about the same thing constantly, this is organized, and they always come at the same time, all of them. It's never like, oh, one here, one there. It's like five new perps join the chat at the same time, and they're all talking about the same things that the five last talked about. Yeah, it is what it is. We play whack-a-mole, baby. You have a good barber. I am my barber. I cut my own hair. I learned from Game Changer 1 on YouTube and 360 Jeezy. Yeah. Anyways, I've been here for 3 hours. International patent directed energy. But thanks for the compliment. I forgot to say that. Thank you for the compliment. I appreciate it. I'm gonna stay on for like 4 more minutes. Canadian sounds like, are you a perp? Are you a perp, Grody? You don't want to mess into my things, eh? Yeah, I'm gonna leave in about 3 minutes, guys. I've been here for 3 hours. I'll be back though. I'm trying to find motivation to re-record my first few gang stalking tactics videos. Just like add new information and replace the word gang stalking with organized harassment, so that I can post them to TikTok, because they're doing pretty good numbers on TikTok. Though I can't monetize my TikTok, but the point is not to like monetize it; it's to spread awareness. So, do you stalk gangs? No, I block perps. Blocked. Um, I'm not a perp. Just hearing the accent. I lived in Scarborough for a time. Well, that's strange because I don't have a Scarborough accent. I live in Montreal. Um, if you're hearing an accent, it's a French accent, if anything. Keep doing what you're doing. You're changing people's lives. Thank you, Peppermint Pammy. That's very nice. I try to. I really try to. I try to be the person that I would have needed 10 years ago. You know, because I know in what position I was mentally, the ideations I had, the attempts I made, almost made. Um, I just try to, give hope to people and give them validation, because I'm lucky enough that I have someone in my life who does believe me. Unfortunately, she's now being also targeted, but I'm fortunate enough to have someone who does believe me. But there's a lot of people who have nobody that believes them. So I know how important it is to have someone, even if it's a stranger online, just tell them like, hey, everything you're going through, I'm going through it, and we're gonna be all right. You know, um, I know back when I broke up with my ex after 13 years, I was pretty shattered. Um, to have given over a decade to a monster who just viewed it as Well, now that you have a backbone, you've outgrown your purpose and you're no longer useful to me. So I'm going to abuse you. And I had to make the decision to, to leave her. And then she'd go around telling people that she left me. And I'm like, I broke up with you on Christmas. What are you talking about? And you came and gave me a fake apology the next day. It was so funny. Like she on Christmas, she gave me a speech for like 45 minutes, not like 45 minutes. It was 45 minutes I was looking at the time. And she gave me like a 45-minute speech on how bad of a boyfriend I was. And then I was taking notes of everything she said. And I had 2 full pages on my little notepad of everything she said. And then after she finished talking, I just asked her, so these are all the things that you said that was wrong with me. Now, I'd like to ask you, um, what do you think your flaws are? And she was like, well, that's unimportant. We're not talking about me. We're talking about you. And I was like, oh, you just spent 45 minutes talking about my flaws. I wrote them down. I listened to everything you said. I didn't interrupt you. Um, I was very intentional with hearing everything you had to say. I'm asking you, now that you've named all of my flaws and everything I do wrong in our relationship, what do you think your flaws are? And then she named one thing. I think she said, I'm lazy. And then she said, but I wouldn't be if I didn't have to deal with your shit all the time. So I was like, okay, so your first flaw is my fault. Got you. What else? And then she named another thing and then quickly said, but I wouldn't be like that. It wouldn't be like that if didn't do this, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, your second flaw is also my fault. What else? She named the third thing and then again said, but that's your fault. And I was like, okay, I got you. I see where this is going. So I basically asked her, okay, so you just gave me 2 pages of my flaws, everything I do wrong. I don't do this enough. I do too much of that, blah, blah, right? Um, what I just told her, like, I asked you to give me some of your flaws. You named all of my flaws for 45 minutes, no problem. I asked you to name to name your flaws. You named 3 things, and every time you named them, you then told me that it was my fault. And she was like, "Yeah, but it is." And I was like, "Yeah, I understand. Um, I just have a question here. You know, since you think that you wouldn't have these flaws if it wasn't for me." And she said, "I wouldn't." And I was like, "I understand. Let me finish. But since you think you wouldn't have these flaws if it wasn't for me, do you think you're flawless? Do you think you're perfect?" And she answered me. This is word for word. I'm not paraphrasing. I'm saying to you verbatim what she said. She said, "Well, at least 99%. Yeah, for sure." And I would just sit there like, what the fuck? Did she just, she actually believes this, you know? And then I just, I put my notepad down, put my pen down, and I told her, well, I'm glad that you were able to share in a calm manner all the issues you have with me as a boyfriend. I do have to let you know, though, um, I don't agree with you. I think I'm a great boyfriend, and I think that if you don't see that, that's your problem. So with that being said, I'm leaving you. You know, and she said, "Yo, you're such a coward. You're not even gonna work on a relationship, blah blah." And I was like, "No, no, 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 no. There's nothing to work on here. You think I'm a bad boyfriend. I think I'm a great boyfriend. So whack. So there's really no point in us continuing because I'm not gonna change. You know, and you're not going to think I'm better. You're not gonna see you're not gonna see me any differently, and I'm not gonna change. I think I'm doing a great job at being a good partner. And I didn't go into like into her flaws and talk about whatever she's doing wrong. I just let her know, look, you think I'm a bad boyfriend. I disagree, but I'm gonna do you a favor and I'm gonna end it here. It's fine. We don't have to do this. And that was it. I broke up with her on Christmas. You said nobody's going to help you, but that's not true. People will do what they can, but it is usually nothing because the people willing to help are locked down too. Well, toward the Terra, I would like to know what exactly could people do to help? What is it that you think people could do to help? I'd like to hear it. I have a little bit of time. Well, that's a good idea. Let the business reap those benefits or not. I don't know what you mean. Shouldn't you be out robbing? Whack. Um, what's with the radical ideology from the hive mind tonight? What radical ideology? What are you talking about? What did they say, Isium? Who said what? Are you talking about me? Do I have a radical ideology? Oh, that's a critical neurological system compromise. I'm weak, but in this case, the butt is the smoking gun. Confronted him. He just went silent and contacted me 6 months later, hoping I forgot. Asia, that guy you were dating is definitely a narcissist. That's what they do, man. If you could have a fight, big issue, and they'll cut contacts, and then as soon as they need you, they just pretend like nothing happened. Like, hey, let's go back to zero. I need you. Now that I need you and you have use for me, let's pretend like nothing happened. I endured 14 months of torture from an extreme narcissist. 13 for me, buddy. You got me beat. I'll be in Quebec someday. I'd buy you a coffee if we meet. We don't hate each other. We can do stuff that helps each other out. I could park in your driveway when you go out. Extra security. Well, that's very nice toward Tara, but my wife will beat your ass. I'm letting you know right now. She don't play no games about me. She's very jealous. Um, but yeah, I mean, if you're ever in Quebec, it'd be cool to chat. But you don't have to wait to be in Quebec. You could chat with me here. Honestly, it would be hard to get a hold of me when you come here. So if you want to chat, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook. I talk to people. Just write me a message. I'm the War Against Narcissism on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. I'm reachable. And I wouldn't hate you. I wouldn't hate you. Unless you're a narcissist, I still wouldn't hate you. I just wouldn't want to interact with you, but I don't hate people. Using but in a sentence is deflection and excuse. Yeah, I think it was in Game of Thrones that I heard Tyrion say, everything you say before the word but is canceled. It means nothing. And really, that's what is referred to in the narcissistic dialect as a faux apology. Faux is a French word that means fake. Um, it also means wrong, but it means fake. And faux apology, as in a fake apology. And narcissists will often do that. I'm sorry, but if you didn't say that, I wouldn't have done that. If you didn't do that, I wouldn't. I'm sorry, but it's your fault. I'm sorry, but it's a deflection. It's rerouting blame. It's blame shifting, right? It's I'm sorry, but means I'm not sorry. It means you shouldn't have. If you didn't do this, I wouldn't have done that. It's your fault. I'm sorry, but means it's your fault. That's what it means, basically. Or it's somebody else's fault. I'm sorry, but it's not my fault. I'm sorry you feel that way. I'm sorry you got hurt. No, 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 no. I didn't get hurt. You hurt me. Right? It's like when you're sorry, you say, "I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to do that." Or I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to hurt you. I'm really sorry. I won't do it again. These are apologies, proper apologies. I'm really sorry. I'm ashamed of my behavior. I will do better next time. My wife loves when I say that. Um, These are apologies, but I'm sorry, but if you ever hear someone say I'm sorry, but understand that any relationship you have with that person should be completely superficial. This is not a safe person. This is a person who lacks accountability. And you cannot have a relationship with someone who lacks accountability, because in relationships, if someone thinks that you need to take all accountability for everything and they can't take no accountability for their actions, you're basically dating an adult child. That's very unattractive to me. Do they ever change? No, narcissists do not change. They don't. What's going on, Faith Over Fear? I'm sorry, I'm about to leave, eh? I'm a woman. Okay. Broke up with him a few weeks ago. I don't know why it took me so long. Congratulations. You'll you might not feel better now. You'll feel better. Good morning. Good morning, Michaeline Jennifer. Why so close to the camera? Because I feel like it. How are you? Good. I feel like the digital ecosphere is like 10,000 times safer for TIs. I know it's sad, but the self-imposed stay-at-home order is the best preventative from physical agents compromising you in the field. I agree. I agree. I don't go out much. I don't get followed much because I don't go out much. It's very hard to get a routine on me because I don't go out much. Guessing the topic is relationship with a narcissist. What's understood doesn't need to be explained. I'm just gonna sit back and watch the movie. Fair enough. Like I said, I'm about to leave though. I'm sorry. I don't know, guy. If people are not willing to meet in person, people who are targeted will never meet, because all targeted people will have filtered communications. We would have technical difficulties, missing emails, and dropped calls. Um, the reason why I don't want to join groups for targeted individuals is not because of my fear of interrupted communication. It's because perps infiltrate these groups. I mean, look at my live chat. I think we've had at least 20 accounts so far join the live and do directed conversation with me or others in the chat. Wherever we congregate, perps will infiltrate. That rhymes. I might spit a few bars before I go. Who knows? I used to go to the strip clubs in Quebec all the time. Okay. Blame shifting to play the victim. I'm sorry, I'm racially aware. Okay. Nothing is ever his fault. Absolutely. Absolutely. Tell your wife I'm more interested in your driveway. I'm just looking for places to pull over when I'm driving around and living in a van down by the river. Yeah, well, my wife is not exactly uh, the understanding type when it comes to women interacting with me. She's she's not gonna be okay with you parking in our driveway. I'm sorry. Are you a child of God? Bless. Would you ever preach the gospel on the internet? Maybe. Maybe I would. Who will Trump capture next? I don't care. Oh, whack. Hey, Tudor, what's up? Close to cam so we can admire that trim haircut. Hey, my man. I feel a little bit discouraged. Hey, man, that's normal. Just, just know that this will pass. Sometimes it takes a couple of days. Just be patient, man. It'll pass. Good days ahead, eh? My angels are working overtime. Good. Because the devil is working overtime too. Isolation tactic they take is almost a blessing at times because it does make you stay focused on the goal at hand and not wasting time. Yeah, I mean, I've never been so focused on making my life better. I've never been so focused in on doing everything I can to make my life better. No, I run a business, and one of my Facebook posts just got 60 million views, 2.8 million likes. I'm blown away. My page used to have 9,000 followers. I got 50,000 now. This happened this week. Mind blown. Can't believe it. So yeah, there is an upside to narcissistic abuse. The weapon against narcissistic abuse is self-love. Just aggressive self-love. I'm on team me. I'm not confused. I'm not letting them shame me into, you know, crawling into a hole and, giving up. I'm doing everything I can to counteract everything that they do every day. COVID was training. Take the lessons from lockdown and apply them strategically, folks. Yep. Don't take this the wrong way, but you kind of look like, well, you look like you're blocked. How about that? I reckon that Josh asked about Cam was narc baiting you. Probably. Perspective is everything. You look like anybody who says I look like something is immediately banned. Have a wonderful day, my friend. You too. I'm also home a lot, like you said, if they try to pin a diagnosis on me. They'll do that. There you go. I'm happy just to drop by the chat to chat, sorry. You got good information to share, but don't say nobody is willing to help. Only help I can offer is in person. Online support is just infotainment or something like that. I hear you. I hear you. You hurt these people when they don't let you close anymore. That's true. That's true. It means no mind game manipulation nightmares. It is what it is. Yep. I'm Aussie camping by a river at the moment and making jewelry here listening. Liking you speak about truth about narcs. Well, I'm glad. I'm glad. I'm glad. All right, guys. I do have to go. It's late, early. Um, but it was nice. It was nice chatting with you guys. It was nice talking politics. I like talking politics with everything that's going on. Um, Nothing is ever that deep, you know. Though what's happening is pretty deep. I just people with opposing views, I don't take it personal. I understand where you guys are coming from. If you still believe in whatever politician you voted for or whatever side you're on in a two-party system. So I don't take it personal when people think egregious things because their party thinks egregious things. I think both parties have a lot of views that are absolutely ridiculous. So I like talking politics for that reason because I'm very detached. Also, I'm Canadian, so I don't. It's not that close to home yet. Um, Targeted individuals can't help each other digitally because we're all digitally screwed, aren't we? We're all just gonna wish each other better, pray for each other, but otherwise just sit in the chair and drink Kool-Aid. It does help though. It does help a lot. If you saw my private messages, the amount of people who just like, thank you so much for spreading awareness, thank you so much for the validation. It does help. When I was going through my breakup, listening to people talk about narcissism and making sense of my situation and everything I've gone through in the past 13 years at the time was so helpful. So helpful. So it does help. It gives you strength to go on, to know I'm not alone. I have an army with me. We're all in this together. It helps. It helps. You know, I think so. All right, guys. As always, you deserve grace. You deserve mercy. Love yourself always. I love you guys.